top-notch eye exams, expert opticians, and affordable prices. Visit one of our hundreds of stores around the country.
With ButcherBox, you never have to worry about what's for dinner. We deliver grass-fed beef, organic free-range chicken, humanely raised pork, wild-caught seafood, and so much more. Get high-quality meat sourced from trusted partners with free shipping always, so you can always be prepared and enjoy the important things. Sign up for ButcherBox today.
There's a new side to Away. A side that's good-looking and has all the features Away is known for. It's soft, not sensitive, but tougher than you might think. The wait is over.
Now arriving, soft side suitcases from Away.
The Michael K. Show on Yes is brought to you by Untuck It. Shirts designed to be worn untucked. Shop now at untuckit.com.
2024. Michael, Don, Peter with you until 6:30. We'll lead you right into the Mets and the Red Sox final game of their three-game set. Hope everybody's doing well today. Hope Yankee fans have relaxed a little bit since last night, because that was just a gut punch. That was an unbelievable loss, Don. And, you know, the Mets had a couple of them and they bounced back. But this is too much of the same thing for the Yankees. The 11th blown save for Clay Holmes. And it starts our show with the Pinstripe Report, brought to you by Samwell Institute for Pain Management. And boy, you need pain management today. Now, 11 blown saves. Of those 11 blown saves by Holmes, the Yankees have lost 8 of those games. So let's give them half of the games. Give them 4 more wins. They're 3.5 games in front of the Baltimore Orioles. Now, they're behind the Baltimore Orioles by a game. Tied in the loss column, so, I mean, but I have defended Holmes for a long time, because I think that he's been a victim of soft contact a lot. He's not a swing and miss pitcher, but time is short. You got to win games. I don't see how you could rationally continue to send him out there to close games. It doesn't make any sense. I think they've held off on this because they really don't truly have a replacement. And my answer to that is, so what? Find something. Close with Jake Cousins. Try Tommy Kahnle. Maybe Ian Hamilton comes back. But, Don, you know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting the results to change. And there's one reason why I have changed my narrative from last night and from past shows, and this is it. Last night was not soft contact.
Nope.
Last night, to me, was a guy, I don't want to use the word fear because that's really pejorative, but he lost his ability to throw strikes, and that had nothing to do with being too strong. He pitched the day before. He looked like he just got too tight out there. I think it's all happening in his mind. He knows the previous night he almost blew it when he came in a non-save situation, and then yesterday that was epically bad, and he blew it in such a way that it has an effect on a team. It does. Now, there's so much pressure on tonight's game to win a series. Otherwise, you're going to lose another series to a losing team. I don't think you could close with Clay Holmes anymore.
No, you can't. And I know you don't have the luxury of finding the guy that fits the best to be the closer. It's now an open audition. And maybe something sticks. And I always use the analogy of the San Francisco Giants. They have one of the best closers in Brian Wilson. Brian Wilson doesn't have it anymore. They give Sergio Romo a try, and then Sergio Romo becomes their closer. And then he loses it, and you sign Melanson. Like, that's just the way it goes. It's usually a revolving door. And sometimes during the offseason, you go out and get a closer at the trade deadline, trade for a closer. And I'm sure a lot of Yankee fans are probably screaming at the radio, why didn't Brian Cashman do that? But at this point, now it's just trying to find lightning in a bottle. All right, you try, and maybe someone finds the stomach for it. Because there is something about baseball, because it's every day, Michael. You don't want to all of a sudden become the team that feels like they're going to lose. And I'm sorry, if Clay Holmes is going to come into a game, Michael, I'm sorry, the fans, the players, everyone's going to feel like, oh, God, we've got a chance to lose this game. And that's no way to go into the playoffs. It's not. Whether it's a wild card, whether it's a division winner, you have to have the confidence and feel like we're going to win this game. That's the way the Mets are right now. We're going to win this game. And the Yankees right now, are we going to win this game? There's question marks. Every decision swirling around, are we going to blow this? What's going on here? They've got to find somebody else to try it. And if they can't do it, then find somebody else. It just cannot be Holmes. If they got a save situation tonight, Michael, it'd be lunacy to hand the ball to Holmes.
Well, now they're in a perfect situation because he's pitched 2 days in a row. They never pitch him 3 days in a row. So now, if it's a save situation, you're auditioning somebody. Let Cousins come in. If he gets those 3 outs before he gives up a run, then he gets another try the next time. If it's Tommy Kahnle, same thing. I mean, there are people out there that can throw, and Cousins does have swing and miss ability because of that nasty slider. Now, I do believe there's a different animal from the 8th inning to the 9th. I do, because I think there's a stomach aspect. Can you handle the pressure? Yesterday, in my opinion, Holmes couldn't. Now, I have always been resistant to automatic change because of the length of the baseball season. So, we've had back and forth with fans. Now, they get rid of Holmes. He's terrible. And I would say, well, he did make the All-Star team. So there's something in there. But when you see an inability to handle pressure like you did yesterday, and all you have to do is listen to that bottom of the 9th inning. Go get that 9th inning on YouTube and listen to David Cohn. It was like he saw the car crash coming. And he even said the Yankees should have been out on the mound sooner because when you're bouncing pitches like that, it's not about lack of command. It's about losing it, where you just don't have the ability anymore. Right. So you can't rest. If you're the Yankees, you can't say, well, soft contact. That wasn't soft contact. First of all, Wyatt Langford almost hit the ball to Dallas. So it was a terrible, terrible loss. You cannot close with this guy.
And this is where, to me at least, from the information that I have, where the analytics can become a little bit dicey, Michael, because now you're not talking about numbers. Now you're talking about getting in somebody's inside their head and the pressure of the moment affecting them. Like, the numbers may tell a different story. If they wanted to dig deep enough to have him continue to close, I'm sure they'll find numbers to say, this is why he's better than anybody else in the bullpen. But don't you throw those numbers out, Michael, once a guy loses his confidence, once he feels like he's defeated? But those are the things that are frustrating about analytics because they don't believe in hot. They don't believe in pressure. They don't believe in clutch. The numbers are the thing. I'm sorry. If a guy goes out on that mound and feels like he's going to lose, Michael, he is going to lose because there is a lot of mentality to the game of baseball and in sports in general. If you take a three-point shot and you don't believe you're going to make it, you're probably going to miss. Even if the mechanics are right, even if you hit the 10 before that, if you don't believe in yourself, it's not going to work. If he takes the mound thinking he's going to lose, Michael, then he's going to lose, no matter what the numbers say.
It's weird, too, because I think there's a certain personality that's perfect for a closer. I don't know if Clay has that. Clay is a really, really nice person. I don't know if he has that animal killer instinct. Now, you could say, well, Mariano is a sweetheart. Mariano's one of the nicest people I know. He is. But when he was on the mound, killer, assassin, assassin. He didn't think anybody was going to hit him. I don't know if Clay has that. And again, I've seen all the blown saves, and a lot of them, his defense betrayed him. Remember, in Baltimore, 2 errors in the 9th inning. That was one of the blown saves. A couple of other bad defense games as well. And then soft contact. None of that happened yesterday. That was a disintegration on the mound. And because it's not a long season anymore, it's a season of about 25 games. And, people keep saying, can you imagine Clay Holmes closing an elimination game in the playoffs? No, right now I can't. So I also put it this way. Maybe this is hyperbolic. All of these games are elimination games right now because I feel the Yankees don't have a chance to win a World Series if they have to go in as a wild card. That's an extra layer of getting knocked off. They need to win the American League East. The Orioles have continued to try to hand it to them, and they haven't taken it. So the Orioles are playing the Rockies right now, and they're doing what they're supposed to do against the Rockies. They're slapping them around. So they won before the Yankees even took the field yesterday, and boom, the Yankees had a win. And Carlos Rodon might have had his best start as a Yankee. Lights out, 11 strikeouts. He gave up that one hit. It was a home run to Young, and he went 6 innings, 99 pitches, 11 strikeouts, 2 walks. He was great. He was great. Now, most of the thing about yesterday's game is going to be about Holmes, and I understand it. And I'll say it again and again and again. They cannot use him as their primary closer anymore. Figure it out. Figure it out. And also, the Yankees not getting a closer during the trade deadline looms very large right now. And I said before, well, who's out there? Well, now we know who was out there. Look at the Dodgers' numbers on Michael Kopech. Look at him. Look at those numbers. He is automatic. Automatic. He could have been automatic for you. I don't know what the Yankees' dialogue was with the White Sox. I don't know what they wanted. But they had faith in Holmes. Well, now Holmes has not rewarded that faith. But I'm going to put some of the blame on Aaron Boone yesterday. Here it is. They go to the 8th inning. The Yankees they're up in the game at that point, 4-2. 4-1 in the 8th inning. So you don't make any changes. Your infield is Chisholm, Volpe, Torres, and LeMahieu, right? The first batter in the 8th inning is Josh Smith. And he hits a soft chopper to first base.
Oh, boy.
Now, I'm not even trying to be cute. I guarantee you, if Peter Rosenberg was at first base, he makes the play easily.
I saw the play, Michael. I feel comfortably I can make that play.
Yes, and I'm not trying to be cute or a smart aleck. I think that somebody with a modicum of talent makes that play. Now, LeMahieu lost the ball on the lights. Okay, I don't know what that feeling is, and maybe the hop was just so that it got caught in the lights at Globe Life Field. So the runner gets on an E3. And then they end up scoring 2 runs that inning, make it 4-3, kind of setting up that 9th inning. Now, the reason I'm blaming Boone on this, let's go ahead to the 9th inning, right? So the top of the 9th inning, Alex Verdugo leads off with a ground ball to first, 1 out. Then Aaron Boone sends up Anthony Rizzo to pinch hit for LeMahieu. Anthony Rizzo strikes out. Now, my point is, if Anthony Rizzo was usable as a pinch hitter, then Anthony Rizzo is so much of a better first baseman than DJ LeMahieu. Why wasn't he at first base in the bottom of the 8th inning? Because you're going to pinch hit for LeMahieu anyway. Now, I didn't ask Aaron Boone this. I didn't get to the clubhouse after the game because I'm on the Yes broadcast. He's going to say, we didn't want to use Rizzo, and if we were up 4-1, we would not have pinch hit. But you can't operate like that. If he's usable, then it's incumbent upon you as a manager to tighten up your defense. So he was obviously usable because he used him as a pinch hitter. So if you're going to use him as a pinch hitter, the very next half inning, you could have eliminated those 2 runs that the Rangers scored in the bottom of the 8th inning if you had replaced him at first base. It doesn't make sense. That is really, really a boneheaded move or non-move. I don't get it. If he never like yesterday, if you watched the whole game, the Rangers never took Corey Seager off the bench, ever. So it was clear either A, something's wrong with him, or B, they are dedicated not to use Corey Seager in the game. It was going to be a complete day off. And they proved that because in the 9th inning, they pinch hit Jankowski instead of Seager against Holmes. They pinch hit Jankowski, a 205 hitter, rather than last year's World Series MVP. So, Don, they weren't using Seager. But the Yankees still used Rizzo to pinch hit for LeMahieu, and they did not use Rizzo to play first base in the other half inning. It doesn't make sense.
No, if you're not going to use them, then don't use them. And also, I don't understand why you wouldn't want to use him anyway. Okay, because of the left-hander to start the game. But, Michael, didn't he have off, what was it, Saturday when they went to the Open? I know he was playing down in Somerset,
No, that was
but
Thursday.
He's up here.
Yeah, no, he played 2 games in a row.
Right, but so what?
Right, I agree.
You know, all right, so you don't want to start him against the lefty, but like you said, if he's available, then have him be there for defense. Or, like you said with Seager, if he's not available, then he's not going to play at all. But he was able to pinch hit. So even if his answer was, well, we didn't want to use him, why wouldn't you want to use him? I mean, he had pretty much the entire game off. You ended up using him anyway in a desperate situation. Every game is important. Every ground ball is important. You usually make replacements defensively. late in games when it gets a little closer, when you want to close out games, right?
Listen, I'm not unreasonable when it comes to Boone. When he makes mistakes, last week he made one as well. This is a mistake yesterday. And I think that by them scoring the 2 runs in the 8th inning, it sets up the meltdown by Holmes. If Holmes is on the mound and has 3 runs to work with, maybe he's not feeling the pressure, and maybe he doesn't melt down the way he did.
Right.
But now, maybe they needed that kick in the teeth. Because now they've been awakened to the fact you can't win the pennant with Clay Holmes closing games the way he's pitching. You just can't.
Right. And on top of that, Michael, if they lose today, that's 3 straight series losses against bad teams. Yep. Can't lose 2 out of 3 to the Nationals. All right, the Cardinals aren't a bad team, but they were under 500 at the start of that series over the weekend. And then if you lose tonight, what are the Rangers 7-8 games under 500? I mean, you got to be taking care of business against these types of teams.
No, it's awful.
And then, and also very quietly, Judge, he hasn't been bad, but no home runs now in 8 straight games.
Same thing with Soto.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things going on here that I think are a little concerning. And the Orioles are going to take care of business against the White Sox. I don't know if the White Sox are going to win another game. I mean, the way that
the White Sox are, they're not even a professional baseball.
They lost 13-3 and 9-0. They're running into each other in the outfield. They just want to get the season over with. So I wouldn't really count on the White Sox giving you any help today. So this is a huge, for September 4th, Michael, this is a colossally big game tonight. You don't want to lose another series and another game to Baltimore in the standings.
And it's not a gimme either. It's not. I mean, Nathan Eovaldi's pitching for the Rangers. He's got an under 4 ERA. Yankees have Marcus Stroman on the mound, who's pitched very, very well of late. So you got to see. And now the big question is, who's going to close? There are several options. You could go with whatever lane it is, the way you would match up in the 7th or the 8th. That does call into question exactly who has the stomach to get those final 3 outs. Different 3 outs than the ones in the 7th. They just are. I've talked to players about it. They just are. Some guys can handle the heat. Some guys can't. All right, so maybe you go with the lane factor. Maybe because you have now 6 starters once Clark Schmidt comes back this weekend, maybe you go with Louis Seal. You don't know how Louis Seal's going to handle it, but Louis Seal does have swing and miss stuff. He doesn't have great command. That gets you nervous in the 9th inning.
Right.
Tommy Kahnle, he's going to throw his changeup. I think he's got the demeanor for it. I think Jake Cousins has filthy, filthy stuff. Would he have the demeanor for it? Not quite sure. Maybe Ian Hamilton comes back, and he's the guy. He definitely is a guy who has the demeanor to close. Will he be able to do it after being out for essentially 3 months? The Yankees are in a tough spot. You've got to close games because even when you put together an expansion team, they usually try to get a closer because every time you have a chance to win a game, you've got to get that chance and take it and run with it and get the W. Now, when you're in a pennant race and you lose a game like last night, that is a kick in the teeth game. You can come back from it. The Mets did. They had 2 of those games on that swing, and they still came back, and they ended up going, 6-3 on the road trip. And then they've come back, and they won the first 2 against the Red Sox. So you can come back from those losses. But boy, oh boy, there have been too many of them in 2024 for the Yankees. You look up, they're in 2nd place in the East, and you know the reason why. I mean, there are other reasons. The offense is not as deep as it was throughout the whole season. Now they're getting healthy again. But you can't have your closer blow 11 saves and have the team lose 8 of those games. Those are kick-in-the-teeth losses.
No, you got to close out the games you're winning, especially the games you're winning by multiple runs. You can't lose a game like you did last night against I know they're the defending World Series champions, but they're not a great team this year. You got them on the ropes and you let them off the hook. You just can't. You got to try to win series. Nobody's asking you to win every game you play. But you got to win series, and now they've lost 2 series in a row against not great teams, and now if you lose tonight, like I said, 3 in a row, you just can't do that. You just can't. So this is a huge game tonight. A lot of things have to come together, but I don't know. It said Heel, 66 walks, 144 strikeouts. You like the strikeouts, but you don't like the walks.
No, you hate the walks. That's why I think, Don, they have not made the move to this point because they don't have that guy.
But I don't think they have the luxury.
No, they don't. That's why today I'm calling for it to end. It can't be him. You've got to find something else.
Because you might have been able to make the argument that he was still their best option. I think that's off the table. Now you've got to have an open audition, which is a tough time in September, and a tough time in a game, late in the game, to have open audition. So they must have a mental note of who can do it best. But right now, hopefully you find it. and that guy can do it. I mean, but you can't worry about like stomach and all that. You're going to have to discover it. All right, can you go out there? Can you get it done? Because this is almost like Chapman. If you remember Chapman, Michael, when he was at the end of his career with the Yankees, there was somebody warming up the second he came out. Like they had no leash for him. Like
which, by the way, is not a tenable way to operate, no matter what.
Because it's
mentally
right. And now you've got, I think Holmes is mentally cooked. So now you got to try somebody else, and hopefully you get the right guy and you discover him, and he can become a legitimate option in the postseason until Holmes finds it. But here's the problem, Michael. How does Holmes now find it?
Holmes has to find it in the 7th or 8th inning.
But here's the thing, Michael. As you just said, the 7th and 8th inning's not the 9th. Like, so if he comes in and lights out and gets strikes out 3 guys in a row in the 7th inning, okay, you're still going to have your heart in your throat in the 9th the next time he pitches to close because it's a completely different situation.
Now, it's going to be interesting to see what Boone says pregame today, because obviously Holmes is not available today. Even if for some reason they brain cramp as an organization, say he's going to continue to close for us, he's not closing tonight. So that gets them off the hook. Is he going to come out and say, you know what, we're looking into other things, or is he going to double down? Because this is an organization that doubles down. We still believe in him, because when you double down, you're not admitting that you were wrong. And at this point, it looks like they have been wrong thinking that Clay is the guy that can close. And I have been pretty much in lockstep, because I'll repeat, a lot of the games that he blew, other people were complicit. And it was ground balls or dinkers that found holes. I get it. That happens. That's the negativity of a guy who doesn't throw a strikeout pitch, but throws a pitch that you put into play. He's got nasty stuff. But now, yesterday, was a complete meltdown on the mound. That's not good. And also, another thing that you could question the Yankees about, in the middle of that inning, another guy that could be considered to close, Luke Weaver, right? He's warming up. He's warming up. Now, you could see, even before Langford came to the plate, that Clay lost the ability to throw strikes. Everybody could see it. They would have lost that game 2 batters earlier if not for the brilliance of Jose Trevino. He's framing pitches that were like a foot outside, and the umpire was calling them strikes. He was unbelievable behind the plate. He's blocking pitches in the dirt that should have scored runs. This is all happening in real time if you're in the Yankee dugout and you've got Weaver warming up. Why not bring him in? Instead, after the game, Boone said, no, we were going to stay with Holmes, that he was going to figure it out. It's September 4th, baby. The time to figure it out is over. If he hasn't figured it out after a couple of years of being the closer, even though he was an all-star this year, now the games mean too much in order for you to stick with him and say, you know what, we still believe in him. You can't. After yesterday, you can't. And the previous night, you can't. He almost blew the previous night when he had a 5-run lead. They were 1 batter away from bringing up Corey Seager as the tying run. It was a great play by Glaber up the middle that actually saved their bacon. So you can't keep going to him. The games mean too much.
Michael, you mind if I play a little Boone here? I just want to hear what he sounds like.
Sure.
Here's Boone. Has Holmes lost his confidence?
There's been times like that in past years where I feel like he's gone through a weak stretch where he's kind of struggled mechanically. I don't feel he's had a lot of those stretches this year. Tonight they got him. A lot of the times where we've lost out there, it's been, soft contacts, beating them. Obviously that wasn't the case tonight. Walked 2 guys, and obviously Langford put a real charge into one. So we got to, make sure he's good and make sure he's good.
He's not good.
He's not good.
He's not good.
And I didn't expect... Listen, Peter, when I got back to the hotel, I obviously listened to the interview right away. I know Aaron Boone. He's not going to destroy his player. But we had shots. If you look at the last shot that we had before we threw it to Bob Lorenz and Jack Curry, it looked like Boone had just lost a serious battle with somebody. His eyes were closed. His head was bowed. That was the type of loss that was. He's not going to say Clay Holmes not the closer anymore. Meredith asked him that. You know what he said? I'm not going to give you that answer. The emotions are still raw. I understand it completely. I still back that you don't throw fans chum just because they want chum. But the guy was devastated yesterday. Holmes was devastated. Boone's obviously thinking, I'm sure Boone had meetings today. They can't continue down this path and expect it to change. It'd be irresponsible. Do you want to win or not?
Last night was a sort of a line in the sand kind of moment,
Yes.
Michael. Especially with the Grand Slam, it's just the perfect storm of misery that you go, if we don't make a change now, we all just look silly. Here's the question you just referred to. Will you start using a new closer?
I'm not going to answer that right now when we're raw and emotional, and we'll talk through and do what we think's the best thing.
Are there any other options to close games?
There's options, and he's gone on to save a couple games since that point and thrown the ball well. But yeah, we have options down there, and we'll consider everything.
Time to consider them. That's the Pinstripe Report, brought to you by Samwell Institute for Pain Management. For a pain-free life, visit samwellpain.com today. We'll take phone calls when we get back. Big Met win again. We haven't forgotten that. But obviously the Yankee meltdown yesterday looms a little bit larger in terms of what's going on with this team as they go down the stretch and try to get into the playoffs as the American League East titleist. But first, Peter wants to tell you about FanDuel.
Well, I do, Michael.
With ButcherBox, you never have to worry about what's for dinner. We deliver grass-fed beef, organic free-range chicken, humanely raised pork, wild-caught seafood, and so much more. Get high-quality meat sourced from trusted partners with free shipping always, so you can always be prepared and enjoy the important things. Sign up for ButcherBox today.
Acorns is built to put investing at the center of your money. Every time you pay for something, they invest the spare change. Every time you get your paycheck, they automatically invest a little bit of it. And even when you buy from some of your favorite brands, Acorns gets you bonus investments. Yes, that's what it means to be growth-minded, to find every chance you can for your money to grow. Acorns, grow your own.
I love my fruit to the root. I love my fruit, they a wonderful treat. I love my fruit, they so juicy and sweet. I love my fruit, every flavor and taste. I love my fruit, every color and shape. I love my fruit to the root. Fruits in my smoothies, mango so groovy. Melons and limes, sometimes I get choosy. Bananas for breakfast, blueberries for brunch, pineapples for dinner, fruit salad for lunch. Even though oranges don't rhyme, they don't. I'm still gonna eat them, they mine. I love my fruit, every flavor and taste. I love my fruit, every color and shape.
Somewhere in suburban America, a family of four needs some dinner time help. Home Chef's family menu and Paw Patrol make dinner time stress a thing of the past with easy meals the whole family will love. Get 18 free meals at homechef.com.
Want to get juicy? Sip on this super fresh and tasty blend of ripe strawberry and crisp lemon that's so bold. It just asks for your number. That's right. It's time to love soda again.
The next Mega Millions drawing is presented by Jackpocket. Jackpocket lets you order official state lottery tickets right on your phone. Just pick your numbers and place your ticket order. See a scan of your ticket right in the app. And get your winnings instantly. Go to jackpocket.com to get the app and get your first ticket free. Jackpocket, America's #1 lottery app.
With Home Chef's new family menu, cooking for the whole family is so simple. You go from step 1 to done with practically no fuss. Simply prep, cook, and enjoy with the whole family. Get 18 free meals today at homechef.com.
You can talk to me, Dad.
This is you, and this is your first hunch of the season. It's parlay time. With FanDuel, a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube TV will give you many more.
Buffalo. It's Broncos time. I'd take the over.
And you can easily act on whichever one speaks to you.
Eagles, Browns, Broncos, Bills, they all...
And make every moment more.
New customers bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets. Plus, every customer gets a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube TV. Only from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
There are trucks, and then there's the GMC Sierra. Available with the connected driving experience. And the world's first 6-function multi-pro tailgate. GMC Sierra. It's the truck. Or get $6,000 purchase allowance when you trade in an eligible vehicle. That's 10% below MSRP on select GMC Sierra models. We are professional grade GMC.
Hi, Mel. Is now good for a quick catch-up on your plan?
Yes, now's great.
Has anything changed since we last spoke?
You know what? Yes, I'm thinking more long-term.
Great. We'll make that change to your plan and adjust as needed.
This helps a lot.
Bye, Mel.
Bye. Make sense of your money with Citizens.
Hi. Deprioritized.
But it's a work call.
Oh, a work call? Deprioritized.
T-Mobile home internet relies on cell phone towers, so when their network gets busy,
Not the fridge. Come on.
you can be deprioritized.
It's too bad. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Forget T-Mobile cell phone internet. Get home internet that puts you first. Get Spectrum.
What if you went to your secret hiding place and found this? All drug use comes with risk. Before those risks become real, know that you can quit. For help with drug use, call 1-800-662-HELP for free and confidential information and treatment referral, or go to samhsa.gov/know-the-risks.
Brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. Mets Red Sox coverage immediately following us right here on 880 ESPN. And the Yankees continue to face the Rangers, a rubber game of the 3-game set. That's in Arlington, Texas tonight at 8:10. That'll be on Prime Video. That's Game Time, brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, because when it's game time, it's Tully time. Tullamore Dew, the original triple distilled, triple blended, triple cask matured Irish whiskey. Be sure to grab a Tullamore Dew or try the brand new Tullamore Dew Honey during tonight's action. Glasses up to enjoying Tullamore Dew responsibly. 4 o'clock, Mike Lupica will join us, his regular Wednesday spot. 5:15, Dan Orlovsky will give us his take on the upcoming NFL season. And then 4:30, the new, earlier version of ENN.
Yes. Reviews, I guess the best way to describe it, solid. There are people that don't like change. Let's face it, ENN was an institution at 6 o'clock. So I could see it be jarring for people.
Sure.
But if you're reluctant to change, I don't know what to tell you. But if you're open-minded and see the way that it was done by Peter and where it was in the show and all of the things that go on after, it was tremendous, Peter. Good job.
I enjoy. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. I didn't think I would. It had a different feel, different cadence. But yeah, I'm psyched for day 2 at 4:30 for ENN. It's gonna be something.
People are talking. It's great.
Chatter.
Now let's let people talk. 1-800-919-3776. We'll start this off with Kyle in New Jersey. Kyle.
Hey guys, hope all is well.
Same to you.
What's up?
So listen up. I'm sick to my stomach. 27 games, 11 blown saves. Put a stamp on Holmes' head and send him down. Take Boone with him. I mean, really. These guys need infield, outfield drills till their leather in the glove wears down. I can't continue watching these guys. I got my phone blowing up at 11:30 at night. And, Mike, I can't sleep. I'm stress eating at night after these games. Hot dog after hot dog. I must have gained 20 pounds watching this team.
Don't do that to yourself, Kyle. But you know what? I'm going to give you credit for something, Kyle. And I'm going to send love your way. Because I'm reading on social media, right? I'm never watching them again. I'm not watching the team. Well, then you're not a real fan. Because there's no guarantee that it's just a joyride the whole year. The ups and downs, the ebbs and flows. Imagine if there were Met fans that said that when they got off to the bat start in April. Well, they wouldn't be enjoying the season, would they?
For anybody that says, I'm not going to watch, then what you're telling me is your only interest in the New York Yankees, the only reason you're a fan of the Yankees is because of all the championships. So you're kind of a front runner then. And the reason you're not exposed is because they happen to be in New York. But for the same reason you see a bunch of Laker fans in New York or Cowboy fans, because you didn't want the losing locally, so you went and found a winner. That if you're shutting them off, a team that was in first place before the game last night, right? And still has a chance to win this division. And believe it or not, even though it doesn't look great right now, still is in the conversation to win a championship. And you're not going to watch them tonight tells me your only interest in this team is the winning. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're absolutely right. I mean, those that say because the Yankees are going through a tough stretch right now. In fact, after their big start, they're under 500. I understand all of that. Yeah. But you do not get a get-out-of-jail-free card as a fan where you don't get to suffer. Part of being a fan is to suffer.
Michael, I got to tell you, I've been a fan my whole life of teams. And there were times that I despised the team that I rooted for. Just hated them. up and down because of mismanagement, but I still watched because it's my team. Like, if you're just going to give up watching, and what, you're just going to jump back on all of a sudden if they rattle 7 in a row and win the division, you're going to jump back on the bandwagon? Part of the reason we celebrate championships, Michael, is because we didn't lose. That's what you're jumping up and down for, is because your team didn't lose. It's all the losing you go through that makes the winning that much better. So to just give up on the team, I can only surmise is that your only interest in this team is the fact that they're always good.
Let's go to Jimmy in Connecticut. Jimmy.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Listen, the Yankees are in a really kind of dangerous waters right now, and also kind of an unconventional situation that you just don't see a lot, and that is they're neck and neck in the race to win the American League East with the Orioles. It's September 4th, right, and it looks like that's not going to change the rest of the way. They're going to be neck and neck the whole way until maybe that series at the end of September, and they're basically holding an open tryout for a closer. That's why I'm actually not going to kill Boone too much. I mean, for the mistakes I will, but for this situation he's in, it's a very difficult spot to be in. And we talk about how baseball season is a sprint, not a marathon, not a sprint.
Now it's a sprint.
The thing is, the games all count. Now it's a sprint. That's the thing. And these games all count equally. And if, let's say it's September 29th, a few weeks away, the Yankees finish a game back of the Orioles, these are the kind of games that you look at, you point to, and just say, what the heck were we doing?
Absolutely.
And that's what worries me.
And you have the right to be worried.
One more thing before
You do. You really have the right to be worried. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, no, the other thing I was thinking is your conversation in the first segment sparked this idea. Maybe Holmes needs to be in a less high-pressure situation, like you said. Well, I know you talked about using him in the 7th inning. What if you used him, like, in mid-relief, like the first guy out of the bullpen, just to kind of put him in a situation where he's not going to be under the gun so much and just, I don't know, do you think that would get his confidence back to a point where he could maybe he won't be worthless as a closer in the future?
Well, I don't think the next time you see him, Jim, I don't think it's a bad idea. I don't think the next time you see him is going to be a high-leverage situation in the 7th or 8th. It might be in a game that they're leading 6-1, the starters used all of his bullets, or they're losing 6-1. But I don't know if that solves things. Like what Don said earlier, let's say he pitches well in those situations, and all of a sudden you bring him in to close the game in the 9th. The same demons are going to be there in the 9th inning again. The demons don't go away. That's why I've changed my tune just from yesterday. He melted down on the mound yesterday. It had nothing to do with stuff. It had nothing to do with soft contact. It had to do with a man that just melted down. You were watching it in real time. You could almost predict it before it happened.
If something wasn't working, then he could work it out someplace else, and then you could put him back into the closer spot. If it's mental, Michael, then anything he does in middle relief isn't going to make you feel that much better, because those are not high leverage situations. So the next time he comes in to close, you're still going to wonder, is this guy going to be able to get the job done? Once he does, and that's where he's going to gain his confidence back. So he still has to pitch. He still has to be ready. But, Michael, I don't know if you're ever going to feel confident until he goes out and starts doing his job, which is closing games. But he can't be given that opportunity right now.
I don't know if he can be given it the rest of the year. I'm sorry. You know I'm not a knee-jerk reaction sort of guy, and I understand the spirit of the baseball season, which is so, long and winding, and you got to let things breathe. But now you don't. You don't have the opportunity. You can't lose games like last night. You can't, because you're going to be on the outside looking in, and even if you get into the postseason, which I almost assuredly know that they will, whether a wild card or AL East titleist, they're going to lose early. If you can't give games away that you have leads in.
And you know what I hate about the prospect that you just described too, of like how you get him back, maybe it'll be in a 6-1 game, and you bring Michael. It's still ultimately, let's say he's great in that spot, you're still ultimately then going to have the spot again where you have to test him out in prime time and see what happens.
I don't know if you can do that, Peter. You've got to find another way. You've got.
So you're saying all you're hoping to do then is find a place to use him in games where it's not high pressure.
He's got filthy stuff. He's got a great arm. So maybe he can get you 3 outs in the 6th. Maybe he could give you a 2-inning outing. But from now on in, from this point on, it's either Luke Weaver or Jake Cousins or Tommy. It has to be, or Ian Hamilton. You cannot risk losing games like this. The time to experiment is over.
Yeah,
These games are too big.
The only way he could get it back, Michael, and I don't even know if there's enough time, is that they exhaust all their opportunities. Nobody else can do it, and then he gets another chance. But I just don't know if there's going to be that many save opportunities that where you're going to be able to exhaust every other option in order to go back to him. So it's probably over for him, at least this year.
And he's a free agent at the end of the year. Let's go to Ryan in Connecticut. Ryan.
Fellas, thanks for having me on. Confession, I texted my brother going into the 9th inning, and I said, I believe in Clay. And man, was I wrong.
Well, you actually made a mistake. You actually were trying to tell him, I believe in K. That's what you meant.
Oh, Michael, you know I believe in you. But this guy,
maybe you're just a big fan of claymation. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's actually molding clay.
Yes. So you said that to your brother, and your brother, after it happened, what did he do?
Michael, you know how this season goes. It's 162 games. The games we're losing, you're miserable, and the games you're winning, your excitement is tempered because you know, oh man, there's a chance Clay Holmes comes into a game. This guy is not qualified to close the door to the fridge, much less the 9th inning of a ball game. So what do we do now?
You've got to find somebody else to get those final 3 outs. You just have to.
Yeah, but Michael, the time for experimenting was the last 2 months. It's September now. Check the calendar. I mean, we're late into the year here, and we still don't have a closer.
Yeah, but you're saying experimenting, Ryan. I understand your frustration from last night. I really do. You could hear it in my voice, too. That was a tough loss. He was the guy. They were trying to straighten him out because he has the best stuff of anybody in that bullpen. But stuff doesn't always translate to being the guy that's best suited to get the final 3 outs. And I think he proved yesterday he's not that guy. After 11 blown saves, 8 team losses of those 11 blown saves, all you do is take half of them. And that's not even being unreasonable.
No.
Half of those. You're up by 3.5 games.
You're going to blow saves, but it's the most blown saves by a Yankee since '87.
And I think the record for blown saves, I think it's Bruce Sutter, who had like 14. The Yankees should not give him a chance to break that record. He cannot blow 3 more saves.
He's done. No, I would think, Michael, unless they just are stubborn, it's not going to happen. And they must have a list of guys that they will try. And since you said they got 6 starters, maybe it'll be Heel. You know, they were looking at his innings anyway. He does have 144 strikeouts, does have 66 walks, but the walk-to-strikeout ratio is still, I think, worth giving him a try. And maybe they find that it suits him.
Let's go to this. This should be great. So everybody buckle in. Paul in Trenton wants to talk.
There you go.
Yeah, hi, guys.
Hello, Paul.
Hey, look, Mike. I held back on criticism of Boone and the Yankees until now.
Oh, sure.
The supposed talent on this team does not show. You know, they scored 2 runs. They got to be better than that. They're just all around not playing well.
They scored 4 runs yesterday, Paul.
Yeah, but they had 2 runs up until the 8th inning.
The 2 in the 8th inning still count, Paul. They scored 4 runs.
Well, okay, big deal, 4 runs. But that's not the only problem. Why is LeMahieu still being put in the lineup? Rizzo came back. He played, 1 game, and then they take him out?
2 games.
I mean, it's ridiculous. Rizzo needs to be in there every day, Mike. He needs to be every day for the next 24 games. And the last thing I'll say is about Boone. He said, Holmes, we got to get him better. Well, what's his plans? To transfer Koufax's arm on his body? That's the only way he's going to get better. I mean, I don't understand nothing about Boone or what's going on.
Well, one thing I would tell you, Paul, they don't have to transfer Koufax's arm. He's got a great arm. That's not his issue. His issue's not his arm. He throws 97, 98 mile-an-hour sinkers. He does not have an arm problem. I think it's between his ears. Maybe it's in his chest. I'm not sure. But yesterday, he melted down. That had nothing to do with his arm. He's got as good a stuff as anybody. So you don't need to have an arm transplant. But the time to experiment is over. I don't want to keep repeating the same thing over and over again. The time to experiment is over.
And I know that there are no Boone fans out there, it feels like, but don't judge what Boone said after the game about Holmes. He's not gonna rip him. He's not gonna say he's done as a closer. Any of the things he's gonna say is gonna try to prop him up psychologically because they're gonna probably need him somewhere. some lane for the rest of the season. But, Michael, I'm not going to judge Boone on what he said about Holmes after the game. I'll only judge Boone if Holmes, the next save situation, if there's one a couple of days from now in Chicago on Friday or Saturday and he comes in to close, then I think you can criticize him. But right now, I'm not going to criticize him for anything he said about Holmes last night.
And also the Rizzo stuff, I know what Paul's saying, and Rizzo should play as many games as possible because first base has been a wasteland for the Yankees. It just has. But I'm sure resting him yesterday was an organizational, medical, training staff decision where, you can't ramp this guy up and play him every single day. I don't think Aaron Boone just said, you know what, let's sit down Anthony Rizzo. They've got to play him as much as possible. And as we said yesterday, a lot of people wanted Oswaldo Cabrera at first base. He can't hit right-handed. So they put in LeMahieu, who actually did get a hit and drove a ball deep to center field. So he did get a hit, and he made that terrible error at first base. The days of DJ LeMahieu playing important games should be over. I mean, you've got to narrow down your focus now and play your best people, and that's all there is to it. No more load management, anything like that. You got to play your best people, get your most out of your starters, get your best relievers. There's no breathers now. You heard what Carlos Mendoza said. He actually used Edwin Diaz 4 out of 5 days. And you know what he said? That's why we babied him at the beginning, because now he's going to be used whenever we need to close a game. All the careful stuff you did April, May, June, July. Now it's time that they play every inning of every game. You got to play your best players. You just have to play your best players.
The games are too important now, Michael.
Absolutely.
Especially for a team like the Mets. They're a half game out of a playoff spot, game back in the loss column. Every night it feels like it's Game 7. And the Yankees should feel that way, too, when they're trying to win a division. And I know wild card teams make runs. But still, you want to put yourself in the best chance to succeed, and that's by winning the division.
All right, we're going to take a brief timeout, come back and talk a little bit about the Mets. Another big victory. Boy, I'll tell you what, Peterson's been unbelievable for them. Unbelievable for them. So a big win. They're knocking the Red Sox out of any contention, that's for sure. 2 big wins. They could sweep tonight. We'll talk about that right here on Yes and 880 ESPN.
You can win big on Hard Rock Bet with a little bet.
Yeah.
Or a Post Malone size bet.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't need to know everything about every sport.
Good, because I don't.
Yeah, me either. All you need is a feeling and a phone.
Oh my gosh, I won.
You definitely need a phone.
We're good.
Big payouts for every kind of player. Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us.
Hi, I'm Sally. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. I'm a flight nurse on a helicopter that specializes in trauma. I've been doing flight nursing for 24 years. I had a fear that I wouldn't be able to keep up. I wanted all the boost I could get. I heard about Prevagen from a friend. I read the clinical study on it, and it had good.
With power you can count on, capability that doesn't compromise, a hard-working EV with more range than any competitor, and the potential to take you anywhere. It's Chevy truck season. Get 1.9% financing, plus make no monthly payments for 90 days on all 2024 Silverado 1500 pickups.
See your local Chevy dealer.
Aaron Judge's pursuit of history. Yankees, Rangers, tonight. Coverage begins at 7:30, only on Prime.
Diversity is in our nature. Diverse cultures, identities, skills, and knowledge. Diversity is in nature, too. Biodiversity. Plants, animals, and ecosystems. It connects us and sustains us. But nature's biodiversity is at risk now more than ever before. And our own future is at stake. So ask yourself, how can you contribute to protecting all life on our planet? Because the future is in our hands.
The best ideas come from solving common problems. My problem, like a lot of other men, I couldn't find a shirt that looked good untucked. So this became my passion, to design a shirt that captures the perfect balance between length and fit. Easy to say, not that easy to do. But with some innovative design changes, we did it. Our problem, my solution. Untuckit.com.
There he is. It's right there. Oh, he's straight ahead. He's straight ahead. Go, go, go.
Cover more ground in the fuel-efficient Kia Sportage Turbo Hybrid. Kia, movement that inspires.
Do you suffer from knee pain? Ever been diagnosed with osteoarthritis? Or worried about the risks involved with knee surgery?
It hurt all the time, like the nerves were rubbing against each other.
I was at the point of either replace my knees because I'm tired of this pain.
Get the relief you need without surgery. We're Arthritis Knee Pain Centers, the premier leaders in non-surgical knee pain treatments. Instead of surgically replacing your knees, our state-of-the-art procedures replenish the depleted natural cushioning in your joints with an FDA-approved shock-absorbing gel, without surgery and without downtime.
After the first injection, I knew it was going to work.
We've successfully treated thousands of patients. Medicare and most private insurance cover this procedure.
Full motion, no pain, walking, everything just back normal like it used to be.
Locations in Garden City, Smithtown, and Wall, New Jersey. Call 1-800-834-5911 for a no-charge, no-obligation knee pain assessment, or go to arthritis-kneepain.com.
I was diagnosed at 65.
37. Earlier than most.
Every 9 minutes, someone is diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
And every one of them can turn to the American Parkinson Disease Association. Visit apdaparkinson.org to learn more and show your support today.
So we have ENN at 4:30, and we have a suggestion, a name change suggestion by Rick DiPietro, Don.
What's that?
He said you should rename the segment PAT.
PAT.
Peter actually talks.
Oh, man. I don't know if that's something that needed to be aired out.
Peter actually talks.
You know what?
But if I talked more, he'd be annoyed by me talking more.
Yeah, I don't think you could please
him. It's probably just a different joke, but this one hit different, though.
It's offensive, what you're saying.
Like when Michael says I talk 70% of the time, it's inaccurate. It bothers me a little bit, but I'm a talk show host. I talk a lot.
Right.
You don't want the negativity to come from you don't talk enough.
Yeah, but there's two things. Number one, I'm not someone who feels the need to, as we say in the wrestling business, get my ish in. I
love all this.
It's a team.
Vernacular.
It's a team effort, and we do what we do. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm on a show with Michael Kay. I added a few things about Clay Holmes. How much? I'm going to let the man who's the Yankee guy drive the conversation.
You don't have to prove anything to anybody, Peter. Don't you worry.
If Dave Rothenberg decided, big day, big moment, they're retiring Pat LaFontaine's number. Let's go to Dave Rothenberg. No, I want to hear from Rick DiPietro.
Interesting.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
I do, but we talk a lot more baseball than Pat LaFontaine.
You know what? If it were up to me, we'd talk more Pat LaFontaine.
You know, Don, I don't know if you know this, but it's time for Diamond Notes, brought to you by London Jewelers.
Sure.
All right, go ahead.
That's a nice Met win. And the Mets, you know, they're showing me a little something. They don't scare.
I would think so.
And they're winning when they have to win. Each one of these games is like a playoff game, and they're just excelling. I give them unbelievable credit.
Well,
that's 6 straight, Don?
That will see. It was the last game in. Yeah, so
I think
yeah,
that's 6
straight. Yeah, because it was the last game
How you like
against
that?
Arizona.
Take that, Rick. 6
Sweep
straight,
against the
baby.
White Sox. Yeah, have the floor, Peter. The floor is yours.
6 straight. You got to love it. I mean, listen, this is a team that they're smelling the playoffs, Don. They're sniffing. Sniff them dead.
If you watched that game, and Michael, I know you couldn't because you were calling another game, it had loss written all over. Crawford was lights out, and they had one hit, but lucky for them, the one hit was a 2-run home run by Lindor. So it's 2-0, then it's 2-1, and you feel like, all right, they're not hitting Crawford. They're not getting anything done here. Are they going to be able to hold on to this 2-1 lead? Then they get the big run in the 7th to make it 3-1, but then the Red Sox come right back. Budo doesn't have it, and he walks a couple of guys. It's 3-2. You get a huge double play because he brings in Garrett to get the double play, and then you get the big tack-on runs, and Alonso hits a home run. But, Michael, at 2-1 and then at 3-2, you're like, this is going to be a tough game to get. And they got it. And that's why I brought up earlier in the show. There's a sense now that the Mets feel like they can win every day. Like when bases loaded, one out, they're going to figure out a way to get out of it. They're going to figure out a way to score runs on a night where it looks like that they can't get much done. So that's the confidence. Get up after the tough loss in San Diego that Sunday. Get up after that tough Game 2 loss against the Diamondbacks and then rattle off 6 straight wins. So this team's got a confidence, a way about them where they feel like they're never out of a game. They feel like they're going to find ways to get out of jams. So they're not going to win every day. But as long as they keep winning series, Michael, they're going to stay in this till the bitter end. They're just going.
And since May 30th, they're 53-31. They're 22 games over 500 since May 30th. Yeah. That's the complete opposite of what the Yankees have done.
It's true. What, the Yankees like a game under since June 1st, right? Or 2 games under. Now, it's pretty incredible what's happened here. And, you know, Rick was talking with Dave, I guess it was yesterday morning, about you got to make the playoffs because what do you get out of not making the playoffs? I get what he's saying because you want to make the playoffs, but, Michael, I'm still getting something. You know what I'm getting? I'm getting a vibe. I got a really good manager. So even if they don't make it, Michael, I didn't know anything about Mendoza. You talked him up when the Mets got him, but you still had to be curious, is he going to be a good manager? I mean, he's a good baseball guy, good assistant coach, good bench coach, but he's pushing all the right buttons. They love playing for him. He's handled a lot of adversity this year. They've had their share of injuries. They got off to the miserable start, never lost the team. I know Stearns has done a great job with the players he was able to go out there and acquire and put together a team that I think is going to win at least 90 games this year. So if they come up short, it'll be disappointing, but you can't tell me there's no value to what they're doing this year. And maybe the biggest thing is Lindor's now becoming like a flat-out leader and star on this team. He just is getting the job done night in and night out. And I didn't know. I knew how good he could be, Michael, but we didn't see this level of player. I don't know if he was ever at this level in Cleveland. I didn't follow it as closely, but this has become his team, and that's an excellent thing going forward with all those years on his contract.
The one thing I would tell you, though, I don't think it does anything if they win 88 games and don't make it, because next year's team's going to be completely different.
I don't know that.
But for the most part, it's going to be.
But here's the thing. Maybe they bring Severino back. I mean, he's got double-digit wins. Like, you looked at all of these one-year contracts, and you looked at them and you said, well, they're one of two things. They're either guys that on a lousy team you're going to be able to trade at the deadline or just let go and then use that money somewhere else. But there's a chance that maybe under the right circumstances, these are guys that are contributing to what could be a 90-win team, and maybe they bring Martinez back. Maybe they bring Severino back. I think you found it. You've got a manager. You've got a president. There's a lot. And the maturity of Lindor, maybe if he ends up finishing, it would be really tough to finish with 40 home runs, but he's got 31 now, Alonso. Like maybe they reevaluate and trying to bring him back. So the idea that it's going to be a completely different team, that might not be the case.
I mean, but if you
They
bring
might
in
bring
Juan
some of these
Soto,
guys
it's a
back.
completely different team.
It could be, but I thought part of having Cohen, and also, good job out of Cohen, too, right? He said he saw a playoff team, and we all kind of looked at him with a jaundiced eye. All right, let's see if he's going to back that up. And he didn't sell off any pieces early on when people like me are saying that might be a good idea, and they might end up being a playoff team at the end of the day. So good for Steve Cohen, so you've got confidence in him. Now, I don't think that you necessarily blow the team up if you bring in Soto. Maybe it will be a different team, but I do know that Lindor's going to stay. And I do know that they're going to have a rotation, Michael. So maybe some of the guys that have helped this team get to where they are might actually have a chance to come back. So I want to make the playoffs. I think they've got a chance to make the playoffs. But the idea that this was a waste of a season, I do think that there is some value, some things were discovered that can apply to the 2025 team and beyond.
Those are Diamond Notes brought to you by London Jewelers. Visit London Jewelers today at any of their 7 locations, including the Americana Mall and the mall at Short Hills. Very, very quickly, I do want to accentuate this. The decision to dump Verlander and Scherzer last year turned out to be brilliant. Yeah. Incredible foresight. They've been hurt all year, essentially. They've done nothing for their individual teams. So he paid half their salary. He got prospects back. They wouldn't have done anything for the Mets this year, and he would have had to pay all of their salary. That turned out to be a brilliant stroke by Steve Cohen. That was not David Stearns. That was Steve Cohen deciding, I'll eat the money, get some prospects back, because both of those guys are proven that there's not much left. Mike Lupica is going to join us in just a moment, and then ENN at 4:30. Everybody stay right where you are on Yes and 880 ESPN.
For years, one company has battled to deliver business products the next day with no freight charges. Now, WB Mason, with their famous fleet of trucks and drivers, faces their biggest challenge, rescuing shipping and packaging buyers from expensive freight charges. That's right. Now, boxes, stretch film, and packaging tape are delivered the very next day at amazingly low prices. So, who do you call for fast delivery and no expensive freight charges? Who but WB Mason?
Well, if you want my 2 cents on interest rates, we got options.
My 2 cents. This one's priced to sell. My 2 cents.
My 2 cents?
My 2 cents.
My 2 cents?
My 2 cents?
Here's my 2 cents on planning for the future. Interest plus interest equals more interest. Come on, now. You gonna take that?
Hi, Joan. Perfect timing. I have a few questions.
Of course. Let's look at your plan.
Electricity flows through everything. Our movement, our passion, our drive. Can you feel it? Mustang Mach-E. Feel something electric. Right now, lease a Mustang Mach-E for $359 a month for 36 months. Only at your local Ford stores.
Breaking news and a surprise contender in the marathon.
Yes, Rachel, someone has caught up to the front. He's carrying a fridge.
Something remarkable has just happened.
Talk about keeping your eye on the ball.
What's happening courtside?
From half court. He got it.
I can't believe what I'm seeing. Over to baseball. Richmond's going to win.
There's no way. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
Don't mind me. I'm just the flu. I'm quite harmless, really. And when people ask, but aren't you linked to dangerous flu complications like pneumonia, heart attack, and hospitalizations? I just say, but I'm just the flu.
It's him.
Who? I'm just the flu.
Demand more from your flu shot. Sanofi higher dose flu vaccines are proven to provide better flu protection than standard dose flu shots in older adults. They've even been shown to better protect against flu-related complications.
Don't get Fluzone high dose if you've had a severe allergic reaction to its components, including egg products, or after previous dose of flu vaccine. Don't get Flu Block if you've had a severe allergic reaction to its components. Tell your healthcare professional if you've had severe muscle weakness after a flu shot. Fainting has occurred. People with weakened immune systems may have a lower vaccine response.
All flu shots are not the same. Ask for a Sanofi higher dose flu vaccine. Talk to your pharmacist or doctor about Fluzone high dose or Flu Block.
6:30. Michael, Don, and Peter with you until 6:30 on this Wednesday. And since it's Wednesday, that means it's time for Mike Lupica, the brilliant all-time columnist of the New York Daily News, author as well, best-selling author. He joins us every Wednesday, and he joins us right now. Mike, how are you?
Gentlemen, I'm well. I've enjoyed this U.S. Open immensely. We have a great, I know we're going to get to baseball in just a second. We have a great situation on Friday where two young American men are going to be playing to get to the final. It would be the first American man in the final since 2006 when Andy Roddick lost to Roger Federer.
You brought that up 2 weeks ago, that our hope to get back
Andy
there.
won. I forgot. I forgot that Andy made it back. I know that Andy's the last American man to win a major and to win the Open in 2003. And then 3 years later, he lost in 4 sets to Roger Federer at the Open. So these are two great young guys. Francis Tiafoe's story, I wrote a column about him a couple of days ago. It's just a great American immigrant story about him and his family coming to this country from Sierra Leone, and his father was the custodian at the Junior Champions Tennis Club down in Maryland.
College Park.
They slept there sometime. No, it's a wonderful story either way. Taylor Fritz, I covered his mom, Kathy May, the May department store family from Southern California. So it's going to be good either way.
Let me ask, since you're here though, and obviously we'll get to a heaping of Clay Holmes, but since you brought it up already, I'll just stay here for a second. Am I wrong for, I root for Tiafoe. He's from the D.C. area. I'm a big fan. Obviously, I want to see American win this thing if it's possible for anyone to beat Sinner or Medvedev. But there's something about Tiafoe so far, Mike. I feel like he's missing a killer instinct. Am I wrong for having some doubt about him winning the big one?
I think he's got it. No, I think he is getting absolutely the most out of his talent. David Witt has been a great hire for him as a coach. And here's the great thing about Francis. And I think the crowd will slightly be more for Francis on Friday night, but they're not going to root against Taylor Fritz, who's a great kid, okay? But here's the thing about Francis. People in sports, they like who they like. And these crowds love Francis Tiafoe. He's been knocking on the door for a couple of years. I was at Center Court Wimbledon a couple of months ago where he gave Alcaraz all he wanted on the first Friday of the tournament, 2-1, tiebreaker in the 4th set. So Alcaraz was that close to being out of the tournament. And listen, Wimbledon's my favorite event. You guys have heard me talk about it. But there's a tennis sound that only the U.S. Open can make, and can only make at Arthur Ashe Stadium because of the size of the place. And the guy who's hearing the biggest sound is Francis Tiafoe. These crowds love him the way they loved Jimmy once, the way they loved Andre Agassi once. The only difference is he hasn't won a major yet.
We're talking with Mike Lupica, his Wednesday spot on the show. Mike, going to baseball, what's a more interesting story to you? The way the Yankees keep stubbing their toe, or what the Mets are doing?
Well, it's very close, Michael. I actually just got off the phone with you know him, and a guy I love. I love Carlos Mendoza. I love the job he's done, and just talking to him about where they are and how they're playing their best ball when they need to be playing it, okay? But the Yankees are a compelling story for so many reasons. Yes, they started out big again. We've seen them do that before. They've been a 500 team since starting off big. We've seen that before. And Michael, I'm sorry, but if you watch this team every day, the fact that they did not address their closer situation at the trade deadline could be the thing that sinks them. Okay, I did a little research today because people can say, well, there weren't any options. Yeah, there were. Yeah, Michael Kopech, 3-0 with the Dodgers, 0.59 ERA, 6 holes, 3 saves, 15 innings, 20 strikeouts in 15 games. Okay, Tanner Scott, 3-0, 2.4 ERA, 16 games, 6 holes, 2 saves, 15 innings, 17 Ks.
Jason Adam, 3-0. He's starting a trend here. That's 9-0 for these three guys who all got traded, okay? 0.60 ERA, 15 games, 4 holes, 15 innings, 21 Ks. They're all strikeout pitchers, okay? And what I don't want to hear is that the price was too high. George Young told me 1,000,000 years ago, before the Giants won their first Super Bowl, your economics change when you have a chance to win. And there's no team that needs to win more because the Yankees don't know if they're going to keep Soto. So they can't, Michael, they can't bomb out in the first round of the playoffs after trading what they had to trade to get to one of the best players in baseball and not knowing whether they're going to keep. Everybody could see. I know that Clay Holmes has been an all-star. I know he's been a nice pitcher. But I've been writing this for a couple of months. Anybody who reads my column knows this, okay? Can you see him getting the last 3 outs in the game that clinches it or puts the Yankees over the top in October? And the answer is no. The answer is no. And, Michael, I listened to you last night, and you and David Cohn, about 6 pitches in to the bottom of the 9th, knew how that book was going to end.
Mike, did you have a problem with them not calling up Dominguez?
That to me to me that's a sidebar, okay? Except in the context of whatever they were being asked for those 3 relief pitchers that I just mentioned, okay? Because those teams, the Phillies, Padres, and Dodgers, all went out and enhanced the back end. And maybe the price, Donnie, maybe the price was one of these prospects, like Jason Dominguez, who is such a hot prospect that they haven't brought him up yet for September.
Yeah, but I understand what you're saying, but, I mean, there has to be untouchable prospects, and he's going to be your left fielder next year, hopefully for the next 10 years. And I truly believe, and maybe they miscalculated, they felt that Clay Holmes was their closer. He went to the All-Star game. He's closed big games for them. But 11 blown saves don't lie. But if you look at what the Dodgers gave up for Kopech, they didn't give up their best prospect. Well, I mean, the White Sox made terrible trades.
No, Mike. I don't even know if anybody asked about Dominguez. Maybe there was no conversation. That's what I'm saying. I just know that we hear an awful lot about Yankee prospects for an awful long time. Okay, Spencer Jones, and now it's Jason Dominguez. But when I look on the field, okay, where are they? The last great prospect that they had, who turned out to be great, is the guy in center field who's hitting 100 home runs this year. And all I'm saying is I don't want to hear afterwards that they got asked for too much to get Kopech, okay? Michael, we could see what was happening. And believe me, I'm not here to beat up on Clay Holmes. He seems like a very nice young man, and he's had some success here. But 11 blown saves is 11 blown saves. And they had a chance to address this at the trade deadline, and those are just 3 names that I threw out at you: Jason Adam, Tanner Scott, Michael Kopech. Okay, and they were obviously available because they all got traded.
And you could throw in Phil Maton too, who's done a great job for the Mets.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Mike, I'm sorry. I sometimes think that for all of the lip service that the owner pays to how much he wants to win, and he gives one of those tough-talking interviews every so often, I think he just kind of likes things the way they are. He likes being a contender every year. He's looking out and seeing a full stadium. He likes the ratings you guys are getting on Yes. And so here we are again. But if they don't make it at least back to the league championship series after what we've seen of their best ball this year, then how can anybody have confidence in the construct of this team and the ability of this front office to not just build a 100-win team or a 95-win team, but build a team that wins the first World Series since 2000.
See, I'm going to respectfully push back a little bit on the House stuff. I mean, he desperately wants to win a championship. Why would he have a $313 million payroll? You could be all those things you just said with a $250 million payroll.
Michael, okay, and I'll push back, okay? The price we have been told for 7 years was too high for Justin Verlander in 2017, when he absolutely would have been the difference between the Yankees and the Houston Astros. I don't know how many other times that has happened. We can go back to Cliff Lee, the year that they couldn't close the deal on Cliff Lee. And I'm cherry picking here, but these are big names in big spots for a team that, again, they still sell World Series or bust. It's not realistic for them to sell that when you haven't been to the World Series in 15 years. And he may want to win, and he may be willing to spend, Michael, but where was the urgency at this trade deadline with what was a glaring issue for his baseball?
But isn't that on his GM? I mean, he has a blind belief in Brian, and he allows Brian to acquire whoever he wants. I don't think Hal said we can't get this guy because of money.
But Michael, what happened when there was a slight holdup in the Soto deal? What happened then? Who stepped in and said, make the damn deal? That actually was the owner of the team, okay?
And he's the guy who made the Judge deal. He stepped in.
Okay, so where I don't know what he was told. I don't know what the inner conversations were at the trade deadline, but I get a little frustrated when I hear they didn't have any good options. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
But my take on the whole account is the accountability thing. All right, yeah, Hal spends money and Hal wants to win. What owner doesn't want to win? But when you're selling World Series or bust and you've won one World Series since 2000, the only person I see that has been held accountable has been Joe Girardi. Brian Cashman's got a job for life, and I'm not saying that Aaron Boone deserves to be fired, but if it's World Series or bust and you haven't gotten to the World Series in 15 years, the only guy that's been held accountable is Joe Girardi, and he went to Game 7 of the League Championship Series.
Right. There's a certain institutional stubbornness from people in this organization. And I like the manager. I don't think it's the manager's fault, okay? But there's an institutional stubbornness. I mean, he has had the job now since, 2018, Aaron has, okay? And there's an institutional stubbornness from the owner about his general manager. And guys, we've talked about this before. I'm not one of those people who looks at Yankee fans and saying, oh, they're acting spoiled or they're acting entitled. No, they're not, okay? But they're allowed to be frustrated. Mike, I don't know if you were here one day. I use the example of guys in their late 20s. There's a friend of our family, Dr. Greg, okay, 27 years old. So he doesn't remember when he was 3 years old and they beat the Mets in the Subway Series. So in his lifetime, he has one World Series memory with the New York Yankees. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't want to hear the stuff about what a crapshoot it is in October. Well, the Houston Astros have had the same crapshoot in October, and they've been to, 8 straight league championship series and 4 World Series.
Now, from the Mets' perspective, Lindor, you see Stearns say that this is one of, if not the greatest Met non-pitching performances they've had in franchise history. We saw Piazza in 99. We saw Strawberry in 88. We saw Beltran in 06. Where do you put Lindor's season up with some of the best the Mets have ever had from a batting standpoint?
He is having an extraordinary season. It's what I was talking to Carlos about today, okay? And Carlos was saying that there's been a lot of great players on this team, but this particular player and what he does for this team on a daily basis, on and off the field, is off the charts. Here's my position, and I really like Francisco Lindor enormously. I told Carlos today the first time I ever had a long talk with him was the spring training a couple years ago, and I knew how charming he was, I knew how talented he was, and the thing that blew me away is not just what a high baseball IQ he has. What a high IQ. This is an extraordinary person. And Carlos was saying today, this is New York. things get loud, okay? But when he's played badly, he's gotten up and he's come back. Remember how badly he was playing at the start of the season. And out of that bad play has come a career year. They were talking about it. Michael, I switched off just for a second last night. I swear to God, to go to the Mets game.
Nonsense.
No, Mike. It was Mike. I swear to God. You have Taylor check the remote. I'm sure that there's a way to check. Okay, I just cheated on you for Michael for a couple of minutes.
You know what?
Okay?
But that's cause for divorce. I mean, you can't just cheat.
So shut up and listen. Okay, so he Alex Rodriguez, when he was a full-time shortstop, hit 30 or more 7 times. Lindor's now done it 5 times. He is walking, he is walking in the shoes of the greatest shortstops you've ever seen. And as they're playing their best, he's playing his best. And what I was about to say is there is no player in the league, including the great Ohtani, who is more valuable to his baseball team than Francisco Lindor is to the Mets right now.
All right, I'm going to do something crazy on this show, and that is remember that football starts tomorrow.
What?
Yeah, I know. No, it's nuts, but we're started tomorrow, and we talked earlier this week, Mike, about a Mike Clay article on ESPN.com. It had the Jets at the top of the league, essentially, and the Giants absolute dead last. Which do you think is more likely to happen? Jets making it to the AFC Championship game or the Super Bowl, or the Giants being literally the worst team in all of football?
I don't think the Giants are going to be the worst team in the league. And I'm somebody who grew up a Giants fan, and I believe I've looked very objectively at the quarterback, okay? I want him to do well. I like this coach a lot, okay? In fact, I've actually reached out to the coach and told him that I'm drawing up a list of plays that I think are going to work this year now that he's doing the play. No, you guys laugh, okay? I've had some great success in the Lupica family Turkey Bowl touch football game every year. I don't like to make a big thing of it, but I have that kind of offensive line.
Okay, President Nixon.
Now you're lashing out because I switched off the game. Okay, that's
exactly
what
I'm
fine.
doing.
I know how,
you know me well.
I know how sensitive. No, I know what a snowflake you are. Okay, but
I thought I was the snowflake on this show. All right, keep going. Sorry.
Okay, well, you're not the chief snowflake, but let me put it this way: you're on the medal stand, okay? And so all I'll say is this. I do think that the Jets are being a little over-evaluated, and I think the NFC East might be a little more vulnerable after the Eagles. I don't know. I can't tell you what Jaden Daniels is going to do. The Cowboys are a constant mystery. If the Giants, and this is the fan in me, okay? If the Giants can get through September, October, and not have the roof having caved in on them again, I'd like to think that it's a tough schedule. I'd like to think that there are, 8 wins, maybe 8 wins, 9 wins, and because it's no fun if they stink. It's no fun. So the Jets are going to suck up all the oxygen, okay, and we're going to start finding out on Monday night just how much is left in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. Okay, he's 40 years old. He's going to be 41 the first week of December, and I love hearing how great he's looked at practice.
Oh yeah.
Let me tell you something. I look like $1 million on the practice range at the golf course. Okay, $1 million damn dollars. But it's a little different in his sport. Not just it's because they're running at him, but now there are people who are going to try to put him on the ground on Monday night. This, to me, of all the games of the week, and I love the Packers and the Eagles in Brazil because historically neither one of those teams has ever played well in Brazil. Did you guys know
Didn't
that?
know that. No.
Today too. Yep. Well, I told you I'm not just here to entertain. I'm here to educate as well.
Thank you.
But the most compelling game of this weekend is the last one down in Santa Clara on Monday night. Guys, I can't wait to see this guy back on a football field.
So let me get this straight, Mike. I'm trying to understand. So you're going to be watching the Jets and the 49ers when at the same time the Yankees and the Royals are going to be on. Yes. Well, I mean, are you going to cheat on me again?
No, I'm not going to watch you at all on Monday night.
Oh, man.
Yeah, are you kidding?
And also, what I take from that is he doesn't have DirecTV, so he doesn't have to worry about
Now,
I don't have. No, I don't. And I. Oh my God! But here's the thing about the Royals. Okay, Michael. That injury has really hurt them.
Pasquantino was big. Yeah.
No, but Mike, they haven't won since he got hurt, right? So I'll just trust that Monday night will be a good and entertaining game, and that it won't be one of those games you guys got to because it's a suck fest, But I'll be back with you on Tuesday.
Well, why don't you DVR and watch it after the
Giants? He doesn't seem like that type.
No, because he's not a maniac.
I do have
DVRing a regular season baseball game is a commit to an insane asylum kind of offense.
This is great. This is great because a friend of mine asked me about a particular sports event. I forget what it was. Maybe it was a tennis match. Okay, he says, "Well, are you going to tape it and watch it later?" I never do that. Because, first of all, I don't have the discipline to not find out what's going on.
Yep.
That's one thing, okay? So I have the attention span, as you guys know, of a hummingbird. So I can't – I'm never going to wait. I have never gone back. I'll tape a game if I'm going to write about it. So if there's a place that I want to go back and look at again, I will. But I'm not that guy. Like Larry David, he's like a crazed Rangers fan, and he will tape the games and watch them later. I never do that.
Now, Peter and Don, I didn't tell you guys this, but I was talking to Mike Breen today before the show.
Okay.
And he said, who do you have on the show? And I said, well, we have Dan Orlowski at 5:15, and we have Mike Lupica on, as we always do on Wednesday. He goes, played golf with Mike the other day. I said, really? I said,
yep.
What kind of golfer is he? And he lowered his voice, and he said, he's really, really excellent.
Wow.
And Mike's a good golfer.
Better,
Mike Breen is a good golfer, and he said that you're excellent.
Michael, I'm not as good as I used to be, but I can still get it around. Breen's better than I am, okay? And both of us, I'm not going to mention the name because it's a dear friend of ours, okay? And he was our host last Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
We finished the ninth hole, and he said, let's have lunch now. And Breen and I look at each other because it's never been a good thing for me to stop and have lunch. And we couldn't say anything, and we both fell completely apart on the back.
Oh, because you had lunch.
No, you can't. No, I mean, no. Did Scotty Scheffler, does he go have a burger? No, I don't think so.
No,
he does not.
But it must have been a tough call for Breen.
And what happened to him?
Because Breen loves to eat.
No, he loves to eat, and obviously from the pictures we've seen of you too, he's not averse to daytime drinking. But
jeez.
Well, what do we not see the same picture of you? I look at that picture of you both every year from wherever it is out in Eastern Long Island,
right.
and there's no video, there's no sound, and I can actually hear you slurring your words.
You know me better than that. Now you're getting back at me. I don't even drink at night, let alone in the day. That's awful. What an awful thing for you to say.
Well, wait a minute. So you don't drink or use condiments?
That's right.
He does nothing. He does nothing.
I do nothing. I am a colossal bore.
Michael is the kind of guy who wants to live forever, but during that time has no interest in doing anything fun.
Beautifully said,
Peter. He just wants to be
Mike.
here.
That's beautifully said, Peter. Best thing you've contributed all year.
Thank you.
But you guys know I love being on this show, and I love Michael Kay, who I consider someone who's like a younger brother of mine, and it's why I've always wanted good things to happen to him. I'm glad you guys have landed on this new station. This is big time, right? 880, come on.
This is big. Now, Mike was at my wedding, Don. You know that,
yes,
and he had the greatest line of all.
Oh God! Oh God! Okay.
So the person who officiated the wedding was America's mayor, Rudy Giuliani.
Right.
Different times, everybody.
Yes.
And Mike turned to Brian Williams, who was sitting next to him, and said, "Kay hired a Giuliani impersonator to marry him." That was a line of the wedding.
Yeah, and the answer is yes. That was the case.
And then it got worse because Giuliani's then wife, I've lost track of how many he's had, but she's sitting, I didn't know she was sitting right behind me.
Oh, my God. I didn't even know this.
And, oh, yeah, so and I turned around and I said, "Hey, Judy." And she goes, "It's Judith." And I said, "Okay," and just turned back and then waited for the vows and just waited for it to be over.
Because you thought it wasn't going to happen, so you just wanted to see for sure that the vows took place.
No. I didn't. Listen. Was there a part of me that was thinking Jody, runaway bride? Yes, a little bit.
Sure.
Julia Roberts on the horse riding away from. Yeah, but it was a small part. I think, at that point, she really did. She loved you, and she really wanted to marry you. Because when we first found out, no,
do it. Go ahead. We're breaking all rules.
No. I just when I first heard that you had gotten a date with Judy Applegate, okay, and whose career we'd all followed, and she just was always so great, smart and funny and great looking. I said, "Oh my God, did she lose a bet?" But then.
Oh man.
But then. What?
Don, why don't you finish this by telling him what you think of our marriage?
I think it's an arrangement more than a marriage.
What? Wait, no. I just was telling a joke.
No. Yeah, Don's joking too, sure.
Yeah, I'm joking. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, he's kidding around, sure.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike. This is one of the best appearances you've had.
Wait, can I ask you a question?
Anything.
When did this go from being a 15-minute segment to a half-hour segment?
You know what? Yeah. You should double the invoice. You really should. You deserve more for today.
Oh, yeah, the invoice.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Thanks, Mike, so much for everything.
No, thank you.
Goodbye. That is Mike Lupica. Hey, I talk for a living, and whether I'm in the studio or at the ballpark, I'm sure to have it.
The Michael Kay Show on Yes is brought to you in part by Audi, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Yankees. Visit your tri-state Audi dealer today.
Is it possible to be more capable and more practical? Be able to perform here and here. Make a statement while barely making a sound. And command the road as well as what lies ahead. How we get there matters. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
You know what Blue Chew is? You could boost your numbers if you took it.
Never heard of Blue Chew.
Blue Chew? Yeah, you know Blue Chew?
Yeah, so it's like chewable tablet things like...
Oh, girl, how do you know Blue Chew?
Her man.
Come on. And it made you like him more, right?
Absolutely. Or you could...
Where do I get Blue Chew?
Oh, you want to know where you can get it now? Well, you can go online and get your first month free, actually, so...
Okay, can't say no to free month.
Would you date him if he took a Blue Chew?
I would have to go with a yes.
Look, you're in it, my boy.
Sounds like a date, man.
My boy.
Thank you, Blue Chew.
Introducing Domino's new New York-style pizza, the biggest star of your next pizza night. It's made with our fresh, never-frozen dough that's stretched thin, then topped with melty provolone cheese and cut into 6 big, foldable slices. For the perfect balance of crust, sauce, cheese, and toppings in every tasty bite. So why keep your taste buds waiting? For a limited time, you can get large New York-style pizzas with 3 toppings for only $10.99 or 2 medium 2-topping New York-style pizzas for only $6.99 each at Domino's.
When you see all the people who work at Shriners Hospitals for Children, you might see everyday people just doing their job. But to me and other kids, they aren't just receptionists, therapists, or doctors. They're superheroes. But these superheroes are only able to help all of us kids because of the support of people just like you who empower their abilities so we get the care we need to live our lives like super kids.
Because of people like you, I can play the violin.
I can play piano. And I can walk. Please go to loveshriners.org right away. Help us be superheroes too.
Honey?
But the gains are pumping.
Yeah, the market's closed.
Futures don't sleep in the after hours, bro.
Dad, is Mommy a finance bro?
She switched careers to make money for your weddings.
Ooh, penny stocks are blowing up. Sweetie, grab your piggy bank. We're going all in. Let me ask you, for your wedding, do you want a gazebo and a river?
I don't... What's a gazebo?
Something that your mother always wanted and never got.
Or you could give these different investment options a shot.
The right money moves aren't as aggressive as you think.
I'm keeping the vest.
Your memory is an amazing thing, but sometimes it can start to slow down. But did you know Prevagen can help keep your memory sharp? The secret is the powerful ingredient apoaquarin, originally discovered in jellyfish and found only in Prevagen. In a clinical study, Prevagen was shown to improve memory in subgroups of individuals who are cognitively normal or mildly impaired. Stay sharp and improve your memory with Prevagen. Prevagen, in stores everywhere without a prescription.
This is you, and this is your first hunch of the season.
It's parlay time.
With FanDuel, a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube TV will give you many more.
Buffalo. It's Broncos time. Psst, I'd take the over.
And you can easily act on whichever one speaks to you.
Eagles, Browns, Broncos, Bills. They all...
And make every moment more.
New customers bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets. Plus, every customer gets a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube TV. Only from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
Recipes. Recipes that are more than their ingredients. Recipes written by hand and lost to time can now be analyzed and restored using the power of Dell AI, preserving memories and helping to write new ones.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
If you get a phone call, do not talk to the person.
Never, ever give out your Medicare number. Just hang up.
I check my Medicare statements monthly. To report Medicare fraud, contact the Senior Medicare Patrol in your state.
Everyone, welcome to ENM.
On TV.
Ray Rowe. Brought to you by our friends over at Security Dodge. Go see Michelle Scalisi.
Get some!
Yeah!
Let's start off this second ever 4:30 ENN by saying good evening to Michael.
I can't even get out of bed these days. Here, put your foot in mud and then rub it on my mouth.
So, clean day.
Yeah, I suppose so. And to Don.
Don't talk over me. Another clean day.
And to Don.
You know
it's
what?
dangerous.
I'll go off the deep end. You don't care. You want me to go off the deep end.
And to myself. Peter, Patrick Mahomes. By the way, there's some life there. There's some life. Maybe just a solo. Patrick Mahomes.
But isn't that Brazilian Jackie Mason?
That's my Brazilian Jackie Mason. Yeah. Well, I was just my Brazilian voice. To Mike Lupica.
Shut up and listen. No, I know what a snowflake you are.
I thought I was the snowflake on this show.
No, you're not the chief snowflake, but let me put it this way. You're on the medal stand.
He was on fire today.
Yeah, he was good. You know, why did we ever think that Lupica would work in 10 minutes?
And for the record, Lupica's on his way to. Speaking of metal, he's on his way to the top of the guest list in the history of the show.
Yes.
And you know, Rick DiPietro has lots of things to say about Peter Rosenberg. Whose idea was it to make Mike Lupico weekly?
You.
That's right. That's right. Producer brain.
And for reasons that are beyond us, Steve Young cannot contribute to his number one status. So I think Mike Lupa's got a chance to be number one.
Holy crap! Yeah, he's in a really, really good situation. We've already spent a lot of time, so we won't spend a lot of time here on ENN on Clay Holmes, but we didn't hear from Clay Holmes. He was asked what went wrong with that horrible blown save last night.
I mean, just gotta go back to your cues and, you know, works for you and what gets you back on track. And, you know, sometimes, like tonight, I was just, delivery wasn't really there. And I was having to, you know, just try to make a pitch one pitch at a time. I mean, I tried there with the sinker a couple times and the command with it was gone. And it seemed like the slider was, you know, probably the best command there and went with it and just left it up there.
7-4 in the end. Rangers beat the Yankees.
Good job on the call, Michael.
Thank you, Don.
I wouldn't know, but I was.
Well, we should hear it if we can. You know, just because the whole, you know, Michael's a shill and he's such a fan.
Oh, you know what? I
got the Don. You don't have to listen. You don't have to play it, but I got the nicest compliments from people I respect today, and Don's just another one.
Well, you know what? I want to hear it, and I'll tell you realistically whether those people are shills or actually telling you the truth. Here we go. This is from the Yes Network last night.
Deep to left field. Fair ball. It's gone. See ya. Ball game. Grand slam. A gut punch to the New York Yankees as Holmes blows another one, and the Rangers win.
Now, very nice call. Almost shockingly down the middle. Did you get any hate for sounding almost slightly joyful?
Well, I didn't sound joyful at all. I mean, I thought Bob Papa put it best on Twitter today. He said that Marty Glickman once told him, a great moment is a great moment, whether it's for the team that you're broadcasting or not. And that was a great baseball moment. I think
that's what I mean by joyful. You sound like you're calling a big moment, which I know can irritate Yankee fans who only think a big moment can happen for the Yankees.
I thought I saw one thing on social media. Why did I have to turn that on and make it seem like a Ranger announcer? But most people said that it was very fair, and you know it makes them laugh.
Everybody's saying I'm the most fair announcer there is.
Makes everybody laugh at the Yankee boy comment. And I wasn't trying to prove anything. It was. I mean, that's how Yankee fans felt. Can you believe that they just lost? And I put that it was a gut punch to the Yankees.
That's right. And you were absolutely right. Not so for the New York Mets, who get themselves yet another win last night over the Red Sox. 7-2. That's 6 straight for your New York Metropolitans. Here's Francisco Lindor on the sense of urgency in this playoff race.
We've been feeling that for a while. This is not just September. Yeah, in September we're getting closer. You know, we have less games, but for a while we have had a sense of urgency. And it's not just me, it's everybody in here, even the guys that get called up. They understand that we're on a mission.
And there's Clay Holmes, and on the other side, there's David Peterson feeling confident after another strong outing.
Yeah, I think good performances do that for you. You know, they build confidence, and just trying to look back at the starts and what did I do well, what can I build off of, and what needs to get better for the next one. And so, I think we're just sticking to the process and taking it one start at a time, one pitch at a time, and trying to simplify it as much as we can.
Last 7 starts under 2 ERA, Don.
Who saw this coming? That he was going to be this kind of
no one.
Really a stud in the rotation. He's been
invaluable.
11 strikeouts last night on his 29th birthday. He's 9-1. I mean, it's just overall. You talk about how good he's been lately, but he's 9-1. Like I said, 11 strikeouts last night. What's his ERA now?
It's definitely in the twos.
I'm still waiting for it.
2.75.
Come on, that's good stuff.
That's what
it really is.
That's what you want.
And everybody's going to keep going back to they don't have their ace, and that's true. Senga hasn't pitched, but that that one game. But if he had pitched the whole year, would he be 9-1? I don't know.
Name a famous Peterson, fictional or real, besides
Rick Peterson.
David Peterson.
Pitching coach.
Jock Peterson.
Oh, but different spelling. Isn't Jock Peterson spelled
with a D? I think it's a D.
Yeah. I was thinking. You know what came to my head?
What?
Norm Peterson.
Okay.
And also Mr. Peterson. Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Wow.
Thank you. Let's dig into this hard knock
I don't think
story.
that happens at 6.
No.
No. He's checked out by then.
What do you mean?
Nothing. I'm sorry. That wasn't meant to be my out loud voice.
I tell you, you've been like the role of Rick DiPietro is being played by Michael.
What happened? What's going on? What are you going after me for?
I'm feeling things. I don't know. I just am.
What? I don't know what I do. What did I do?
Nothing. I love you.
It doesn't feel that way.
When you went to Germany, I felt betrayed.
You felt betrayed. Interesting. Let's get into this Hard Knocks story just a tad.
Because it annoys me.
I was going to say, is it even on?
Did you guys hit this on Friday at all, or no? You hadn't seen it yet, right?
No, hadn't been out yet.
Oh, it's this Thursday. It's this week's episode. Sorry. So on Hard Knocks training camp with the Chicago Bears, the Giants general manager Joe Shane made a cameo. Cameras caught Shane chatting it up with the Bears GM during Sunday's game between Clemson and Georgia. Shane was in attendance on a scouting trip. Let's hear and see if it makes sense. This is the audio of Joe Shane and Poles having a conversation.
It might be nice to not be looking at the
quarterbacks, yeah.
Shane's quote was...
Hopefully it stays that way for a long time.
Shane's quote to the GM of the Bears, who of course just got Caleb Williams, was, must be nice to not be looking at... And the Bears GM, Ryan Poles, jumps in and goes, quarterbacks, huh? And they chuckle, obviously implying that Shane is kind of tired of having to worry about looking at quarterbacks.
So can I say this, Peter? I'm kind of tired of Joe Shane.
Go ahead.
I mean, I like the guy, but I don't think he distinguished himself on the Giants version of Hard Knocks. Shut up about your quarterback. You have a quarterback. Don't talk about another woman when you're married. Stop it. That stuff shouldn't be put on camera, on tape. You're trying to get Daniel Jones to have a good season, and all you've done is tell him, we're looking around, man. We don't like you that much.
Well, again, were you worried about feelings? Michael, I think the contract itself tells you that they're not completely in love.
He's like kind of spitting in the eye of the quarterback. Stop.
And you do, and here's the thing, Don. I know you want your quarterback to be strong. And Daniel Jones has shown that from a mental standpoint, he is pretty strong.
He is.
I mean, he's shown that. He has been in a tough market for a while now. He's never buckled. But going into a major season, you don't want yet another story with doubt as you're about to start.
I mean,
the season.
Joe Shane never shuts up.
He wasn't aware. Was he not aware?
Well, you know what? Was Saquon Barkley aware? Yeah. I mean, you're supposed to always know when somebody's on Hard Knocks, and anything you say, be smarter, Joe. Stop trashing your quarterback.
No, I don't. Again, I don't think he's doing it intentionally, but I just think the world knew that they were looking for a quarterback.
Francis Tiafoe, as Mike Lupica said earlier, big win last night at Arthur Ashe.
I think his name is Frank Tiafoe.
Frank Tiafoe, Frankie Tiafoe, as he's called by Michael. Will play in an All-American semifinal against Taylor Fritz tomorrow. Here's Tiafoe on possibly being the first U.S. man to reach a major final since '09.
Yeah, me, Taylor, Tommy, Riley, we've spoken about it for years. This is the group. This is the group, and we openly speak about it. We've all been knocking on the door. Taylor's been in and out of top 10, top 15. Myself, I was top 10 this time last year. Tommy's knocking on the door. Quarter's playing great. Ben, so it's only a matter of time. You put yourself in positions it's only a matter of time, and the game is open. It's not like it once was where you make a quarterfinal, you play Rafa, and it's like you're looking at flights. Now it's that's just the reality. Now it's just totally different, and no one's unbeatable, especially later in the season where guys are maybe a little bit cooked, just not as fresh, and they're vulnerable. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. First time since '09, and hopefully it's me.
Listen, it is a if you didn't understand what he said there, he said in the past, you find out that you're playing Rafa or Roger, and you might as well just book your ticket to fly home. Right. Maybe this case, not that. Carlos Alcaraz, of course, is out, but later on tonight, we will find out whether Medvedev or Sinner moves on as well. So, watch out, I'd say, for Francis Tiafoe. Whoever, if he gets past Taylor Fritz, whoever he sees in the final is going to be a beast. And lastly, guys, did either of you guys see the weird Commander story moving around today?
No.
You see this?
No.
Michael?
No, I didn't.
The Washington Commanders have suspended an employee who made comments about the team's players being anti-gay, accusing Jerry Jones of being racist and anti-gay, and calling Roger Goodell a $50 million puppet. His name's Rael Entine. I'm not familiar with the guy. He's like the head of content or something. And Michael, basically, there's like this sort of renegade vigilante journalism company that's sending people out onto, quote, dates and recording the conversation and then outing these people for the things that they said. I understand that it's legal. I don't understand how it's legal. And now this is the front page. This is the front page of ESPN.com, and this guy's suspended because of things that he said personally.
So he said this on a date, and the person on the date was recording him.
Yes, and the crazy thing is, though, if you listen to the audio, Michael, you'd be surprised that he wasn't hip to it being more. The woman's asking questions that are, like, so detailed and specific. Tell me more about what the players are like. You know, and he says, oh, well, you know, some of the players are really dumb. Some are smart, though. I mean, honestly...
Well, didn't Donald Sterling lose the Clippers because of that?
Yeah, lost the team that he owned.
Maybe don't think like that. Maybe don't speak like that.
But the things that he's saying, if you go back and listen, if you go read these things, Michael, they're not like politically driven. They're just sort of his opinions on what these people really are. It's an odd thing. Now, so far the Commanders have only suspended, not fired him, but just a weird story. That'll do it for ENN. Your 4:30 edition for the second time ever on this Wednesday, brought to you by Security Dodge. Shop 24/7 at securitydodge.com during their Ram Power Days event.
Now, when we come back, I've got something that is going to absolutely infuriate Peter Rosenberg.
How do you know?
Oh, I know you. I know you. You're a friend and you're a colleague, and I know what buttons to push on you. This is a button that is waiting to be pushed. And I'm going to push it gloriously when we come back.
I won't even look around.
What do you mean?
To see what it could be. Like, to see if it's something I could find out there.
Oh, so you want to be surprised with my blind side.
Yeah, that's right. If you think you know me so well, and you're gonna wind me up like a little toy monkey with the cymbals, and I'm gonna start smashing together. I'm ready for it.
I could actually see you doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna come back. I'll push Peter's button next, right here on Yes and 880 ESPN.
The Michael Kay Show on Yes is presented by Untuck It. Shirts designed to be worn untucked. Shop now at untuckit.com.
The best ideas come from solving common problems. My problem, like a lot of other men, I couldn't find a shirt that looked good untucked. So this became my passion, to design a shirt that captures the perfect balance between length and fit. Easy to say, not that easy to do. But with some innovative design changes, we did it. Our problem, my solution. Untuckit.com.
Your memory is an amazing thing, but sometimes it can start to slow down. But did you know Prevagen can help keep your memory sharp? The secret is the powerful ingredient apoaquarin, originally discovered in jellyfish and found only in Prevagen. In a clinical study, Prevagen was shown to improve memory in subgroups of individuals who are cognitively normal or mildly impaired. Stay sharp and improve your memory with Prevagen. Prevagen, in stores everywhere without a prescription.
If you're an asbestos victim, pay close attention. Billions of dollars are being paid out to people like you. We should know. We're Whites and Luxembourg, the law firm that already won over $9 billion for men and women just like you. That's right, over $9 billion for mesothelioma sufferers and their families. We know you're short of money, and we know you're short of time, so we fight hard. Call Whites and Luxembourg at 917-LAWYERS. That's 917-LAWYERS. Whites and Luxembourg, winning big for the little guy.
Aaron Judge's pursuit of history. Yankees, Rangers, tonight. Coverage begins at 7:30, only on Prime.
Listen, I spotted it from the start. Breaking didn't even have a name yet. All that potential, just waiting to burst free. I think about every battle. Kids from the South Bronx who didn't just knock on the door, they kicked it down. And today, what I saw in us is the same thing I see in you. It's your time. It's all about spotting it early. And if you do, no victory is out of reach.
All right, boys, who we betting on?
However you bet, whoever you are, the sportsbook for every kind of player. Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us.
There he is. It's right there. Oh, he's straight ahead. He's straight ahead. Go, go, go.
Cover more ground in the fuel-efficient Kia Sportage Turbo Hybrid. Kia, movement that inspires.
I'm going to ask you a series of questions about your life, your career, and everything in between that we've uncovered. They're all centered on numbers. Some of the numbers might be familiar to you, but they all add up to tell your story.
The Story of My Number, presented by the New York Lottery. Streaming now exclusively on the Yes app.
All right, so this is not the thing that will anger Peter, but
I'll wait, sure.
Bill Belichick is on Instagram. The guy has embraced everything.
I saw that. Yeah.
He's on everywhere now. He's doing every show, and now he's on Instagram under @BillBelichick. So
here he is. Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Pat, I can't really believe I'm doing this, but I've joined InstaFace.
Yeah, he's on InstaFace. He's going to be tweeting on InstaFace officially @Bill Belichick on Instagram. Welcome to social media, Bill. This is what we're talking about.
Thanks. I appreciate it, Pat. Thank you. Look forward to being with you all year. Really excited to see the game start. Talking to you every Monday.
You're the man.
All right, so he's on Pat McAfee. He's on Instagram. He's on Inside the NFL. He's on the Manning Cast.
Well, if
I'm good.
Well, I am too. But here's the thing. If he wants to make this work, and we don't know that he's just going to become the Cowboys head coach, although that's probably where I would bet. But we all thought, remember when Bill Cowher left the Steelers, oh, he's going to get a job in 5 minutes. And, 20 years later, he's still, working over on CBS. So if he wants to make this work, then you got to go all in. Because he's Bill Belichick, the Hall of Fame head coach, but in television he's a newbie and he wants to make it work. And if you want to make it work in this day and age, these are the things you have to do: social media, doing these interviews, and having opinions. So if he seems like a guy, Michael, if he's going to do something, he's going to want to be great at it. And part of being great at it is doing all this extra stuff.
Here's the thing that I think that will annoy Peter. Maybe he knows about it. Haley Welch has herself a podcast. The Hawk Tua girl.
Who would have guessed?
And the name is Talk Tua, which is kind of clever. And she signed a deal with Better, BETR, which is Jake Paul's company. And you ready for this, Peter? She's getting $20 million for the podcast. What? Per year.
It's amazing.
That can't be real.
That part was not real. That part was to annoy you. But
damn it! We don't know the money.
We don't know the number. It'll come out soon.
My guess is it's 7 figures.
It's
though.
probably a lot of money, but I again, I don't begrudge her. And when I was critical of the Mets for having her throw out the first pitch, I had nothing to do with her. Do what you ever got to do. I don't know how this has legs.
It's more than Andy Warhol's 15 minutes of fame right now.
But it really tells you how much people enjoy what she was talking about in the viral.
Well, I just think that we're much lower brow than we make ourselves out to be.
But at some point, there's got to be content. It's like the same thing, the stories I tell about, you get these famous people to do shows because they're famous and last for like 5 minutes. And then eventually, if they're not good at it, then it's not going to work. All right, so she went viral, and good for her. She's taking advantage of the opportunity. But if people are going to download the podcast, she's going to have content. She's going to have to be good at what she does.
I think she's going to interview people. She's going to interview famous people.
All right, but if she's not good at it,
But maybe she will be.
But I don't know. Maybe she will. I'm just saying that at some point she's going to have to crack through the whole viral moment and be something.
But it kind of seems like in some ways she already has.
I do like the things that she's doing with the dogs for vets and stuff. So she seems like she's.
Let's just be realistic, guys. We're talentless hacks. We're in a field that literally AI soon should be able to have dogs able to do what we're doing. Because anyone who literally does a thing, who gets popular for more than 10 seconds, Michael, is able to make more money than us doing what we do. Sitting down and talking and doing it. No, Don, listen, you're a moron. And Michael, less than moron. We are nothing. We are absolutely nothing. Anyone can do this. It has to be. Every single person who gets famous, they throw them a podcast, give them 10 million, and people tune in.
All right, but you know what? I'm going to fight you. Like, I'm going to physically get up and punch you. It's not just about, you're going to be able to make your money, and I guess if it's all about money, if that's how we're keeping score, then they win.
See, that's no.
But wait a minute, Michael. As far as like, well, anybody can do this. Can anybody do this for 20 years? I mean, if she's still doing a podcast and she parlays this into a career for the next 25 years, then you know what? Good. But, there's the reason that Andy Warhol said about 15 minutes. All right, what's going to happen beyond the 15 minutes? Because being able to stick around and doing it for a long time, anybody can have a great year. Anybody can go out there and hit 300 or score 50 goals. But if you can do it for 15 years, that's true greatness. Being able to hang around and do the hackadoodle-doo stuff that we've done for as long as we've done it tells you that I guess we must be pretty good at what we're doing.
I will say one thing
let's see about the longevity stuff, right? They win right now, but let's see 5 years from now.
Fair.
Again, she's going to have that money. But right, Michael, how long is this going to last?
And you know what? She should cash in on it right now, what she's doing. And I got to tell you one thing about her. So obviously you got famous by talking about,
sure,
whatever.
If you will.
Right.
If you will. Yeah,
but there's some, you're going to laugh at me. There's something kind of charming about her. She's not like.
But here's the thing. This is the standard, and I like her. We're making this too much about this girl. She's fine. But the standard for people, once they're already famous, Michael, is what you just said. There's something like kind of charming.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah, I know.
I know lots of people who are kind of charming.
Yeah, but what you need to succeed in this business is some semblance of fame before you get fame. And she's coming into it ready-made. And that's how people listen to podcasts. If you just start out, you could be a great broadcaster, have a podcast,
sure.
Nobody knows where to find you. They're going to know where Haley Welch is.
But there's the true greatness will come from the sustainability. It's just like in music, right, Peter? There's always some band that has a hit song or even a hit album. And they're the biggest thing going. They sell a ton of records, but never have the follow-up, and then they disappear, whatever happened to. All right, they had that moment, and they cashed in on it, but were they able to have 20 albums? Were they able to have a career that transcends and lasts 30, 40 years, right? So you could say that there's like one album that wasn't as big as that one that the Bay City Rollers had back in the 70s, but, the Bay City Rollers fizzled out, and there was a lot of bands that went on through the 80s and 90s and 2000s and had that sustainability.
All right, we'll come back. We've got a lot of things to reset about, a lot of things to talk about, just a lot of things to live about right here on Yes and 880 ESPN.
For years, one company has battled to deliver business products the next day with no freight charges. Now, WB Mason, with their famous fleet of trucks and drivers, faces their biggest challenge, rescuing shipping and packaging buyers from expensive freight charges. That's right. Now, boxes, stretch film, and packaging tape are delivered the very next day at amazingly low prices. So, who do you call for fast delivery and no expensive freight charges? Who but WB Mason?
Is it possible to be more capable?
and more practical. Be able to perform here and here. Make a statement while barely making a sound. And command the road.
And a care team that looks out for you and everyone you care for. It takes MSK.
The best ideas come from solving common problems. My problem, like a lot of other men, I couldn't find a shirt that looked good untucked. So this became my passion, to design a shirt that captures the perfect balance between length and fit. Easy to say, not that easy to do. But with some innovative design changes, we did it. Our problem, my solution. Untuckit.com.
Hi, I'm Greg. I live in Bloomington, Illinois. I'm not an actor. I'm just a regular person. Some people say, why should I take Prevagen? I don't have a problem with my memory. Memory loss is not something that occurs overnight. I started noticing subtle lapses in memory. I want people to know that Prevagen has worked for me. It's helped my memory. It's helped my cognitive qualities. Give it a try. I want it to help you just like it has helped me.
Prevagen, at stores everywhere without a prescription.
I'm former Major League pitcher Andy Pettit. I teamed up with Tunnel to Towers after seeing their life-changing work with military and first responder families. Now we're expanding our mission to help veterans struggling with homelessness. We want to help them rebuild their lives not only by giving them a home, but by providing the services they need. Please join me in donating at t2t.org.
With Chevy trucks, be ready for adventure. With power you can count on. Capability that doesn't compromise. A hard-working EV with more range than any competitor and the potential to take you anywhere. It's Chevy truck season. Get 1.9% financing plus make no monthly payments for 90 days on all 2024 Silverado 1500 pickups. See your local Chevy dealer.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. I'd say in about 11 minutes, we'll get our first taste of Dan Orlovsky, as he will join us every Wednesday at 5:15. During the football season, we'll get his take on the Giants and the Jets, and obviously who he likes going to the Super Bowl this year. We started off the show with the meltdown by the Yankees yesterday. And you know, one of my least favorite things that's become a thing in sports is the win probability. You know, when a team goes into the fourth quarter, they have a win it's all nonsense. Going
it's
into
worthless.
What is it? It's worthless is what
Who
it
cares?
is. Going into the ninth inning yesterday, the Yankees had an 81% win percentage, win probability. Then after Jankowski led off the inning with a 4-3 ground out, it went to 89. So what does it mean? They lost the game.
I don't know how you do it in baseball, Michael, because there's no clock. Things can happen. You know, obviously, if you put a win probability on a football game or basketball game or hockey game, you've got the time. All right, this is not feasible to do. How do you know in baseball? I mean, as crazy as last night was, it's not the craziest thing I've seen this year. It's not the craziest thing I've seen this week.
Yeah, think about a one-run lead and you have an 81% chance to win. Really? Is it really that high?
with a closer that has struggled in recent vintage. I don't get that. I saw that too, Michael, because I was going over, like, looking at the summary and how all the runs were scored, because in all fairness, I had gone to bed with a 4-1, and then I wanted to catch up on everything that had happened after the game was over. And I'm looking at these win probabilities by MLB, and I'm like, what does it mean in baseball? There's no clock. Things can happen.
I guess you're able to bet. You know, the people that bet the Yankees with an 81% win probability, they had terrible odds, and they lost money. That's the only thing I could see that makes any sense. But, you know, we opened the show talking about you can't continue to close with Clay Holmes. You just can't.
Nope.
The games mean too much. The Yankees, this was their 100. They have played 139 games. So that means they have, 23 games remaining?
23 left.
23 remaining. Every game's
That's
like
right.
the playoffs.
Yep.
The Orioles won yesterday. Yankees lost. Yankees are half game out. You can't give away wins. They've had him blow 11 games. They've lost 8 of them. Now, I broke down Holmes. First 30 games this year, guys, 1.23 ERA. He was lights out. That's why he made the All-Star team. The next 7 games, 10.80. Really struggled. But before last night, here's how numbers can also be played with, too. The next 19 games, he had a 1.93 ERA. Now, we watched. He blew games during that time. He struggled during that time and made every game a nail-biter.
Right.
So one thing that you should never look at with a closer, to me, is ERA. Well, what does it matter?
Yeah, because the one blown save, those runs were unearned.
Right. What does it matter? So last night, he goes a third of an inning, gives up 4 runs. The Yankees, that was their 8th loss. Think about this. Their 8th loss this year when they led after 9 or later. It's hard to win a pennant that way. You know, they're tied with Pittsburgh, who has 8 of those losses, and Colorado has 9. Pittsburgh's hit the skids. They're out of it. Colorado was never in it. The Yankees are trying to win the AL East, and they can't close out games. They can't close out games that you have to put in the win column. You cannot lose those games. To me, those games have more of an effect than losing a game 6-1. It just does, because it rips your heart out. That's a gut punch, kick in the teeth sort of loss for the Yankees. And let's see how they bounce back tonight.
All right, and it becomes big tonight because they lost the series to Washington, lost the series to St. Louis. If you lose tonight, then that's another series loss to a team that you should be able to beat. And
not only that, Orioles win, they find yourself a game and a half.
And I would think playing the White Sox, the way the White Sox are playing right now, I would have to assume, guys, that Baltimore's going to win. All right, so you can't be hoping that the White Sox all of a sudden get off the mat. They're 5-45 in their last 50 games. Now, anything can happen. The Yankees lost to the White Sox not that long ago, but that's not something you're going to want to count on. So in all likelihood, if you lose tonight, now you're a game and a half back with 22 to play. Again, not that you can't make that up, but you're moving in the wrong direction, because it would be a 3rd straight series loss. And what are you doing? It's September now, and the games are really important.
Well, Don, look at this stat. This is their 10th straight rubber game in a series. 10th straight. Mm-hmm. You know the record in the other 9? 5-4. That's not good enough. You got to win series.
Right, Michael, they are under 500 since June 1st. So this is a recurring theme with this team. If you go over the last 3 years, they got off to an historic start in 2022, fell apart in the second half of the season, but because the first half was so good, they were still able to win the division and go to the playoffs. Last year, it never came together for them because of the injuries. And then you look at this is a carbon copy of 22. With Judge hitting the home runs, get off to a great start, but very average this time now beyond just the second half of the season, because it goes back to June 1st. So there's a lot of things going on here, Michael. Like, why can't they find some sort of consistency? They get off to these hot starts, and this is now going to be 2 out of the last 3 years where the hot start's going to carry them into the playoffs. But are they going to be going into the postseason, Michael, playing like you want to play if you're going to compete for a championship?
Well, I mean, they're going to go into the postseason not knowing who's going to get the final 3 outs of a game. That's a tough task.
That's killer. That is an absolute killer. to not have a closer going into the postseason.
I wonder if there's a worse killer going. I guess the only thing that would be worse is that your bats have gone cold and you don't feel like you can generate runs going to the playoffs, but not feel like you can get 3 outs. It's not a great place to be.
The other good thing is, does Baltimore have confidence they can get the final 3 outs of a game?
They have a terrible bullpen. That's why both of them are neck and neck.
Right. And that's the conversation, because what the Yankees are kind of what the rest of the American League is. Right? Houston got off to the really bad start. They've recovered and played better, and that's why they're in a position to be able to win the West. But remember, Seattle got off to a great start and ended up firing their manager. Like the Red Sox, they've kind of cooled off now. They're basically a 500 team. And then the Phillies and the Dodgers have come back down there. In the beginning of the year, Michael, it looked like there would be a bunch of teams that would win north of 100 games, and this is going to be the first time in a decade no one's going to win 100 games. So I guess if you're looking for a silver lining, this is kind of what baseball's been all season. Nobody has been consistent. Everybody has hit the skids. The problem with the Yankees is they don't have the cushion Philadelphia has. They don't have the cushion Milwaukee has. They don't have the cushion Houston has. This issue might end up costing them the division.
Now, I have the Yankees starting lineup tonight on 880 ESPN. It's brought to you by Bigelow Tea. Gleyber Torres leads off, plays second. Juan Soto in right field will hit second. Hitting third, center fielder Aaron Judge. Jazz Chisholm is cleaning up. He's going to bat. Fourth and then play third. The DH is Giancarlo Stanton, batting in the 5 spot. Batting sixth and playing first base, Anthony Rizzo. Anthony Volpe is the shortstop, batting 7th. Alex Verdugo is in left field, hitting 8th, and batting 9th and catching Jose Trevino. So that's a dream lineup because it's righty, lefty, righty, lefty, righty, lefty. The only bats are 9 and 1. Trevino and Torres are both right-handers, and Marcus Stroman is the starter against Nathan Eovaldi. That's tonight's Yankee starting lineup, brought to you by Bigelow Tea. Bigelow Tea is a proud supporter of the Michael Kay Show and official hot tea of the New York Yankees. So Mets playing the Red Sox tonight. That follows our show. Their pregame show will start right after ours on 880, and the Yankees are on Prime Video tonight. So if you want to consume the Yankees, it's on Prime Video. The one thing, and we talked a little bit about this earlier, so many people on social media, I'm done, I'm not watching this team anymore. And all I would say, I'm looking right into the camera, if you're watching on this, you're not a real fan. You're not a real fan. Real fans have to suffer. Sorry, there's no gimmies. 1998, the reason it's a record is because it never happens. That was a once-in-a-lifetime season. And by the way, today's the anniversary of them winning their 100th game in the 138th game of the season. So they were 138. They were 62 games over 500 on September 4th. That doesn't happen. So if you're tuning out now because you're disgusted and you don't like to lose games like that, you're not a fan. You just not.
By the way, can I just say this, though, in defense of the fans?
Yeah.
They're not actually bailing.
But that's all I could go. All I could go is by what they're saying. They're saying, I'm not watching anymore. Don't watch. You're not a fan.
People say that. I don't think they'll actually stop watching. But I do understand that. I do think there can be a breaking point in a season.
To not watch your team. Really?
That's battling for first place. I can see a breaking point.
No. Correct.
In Chicago,
the Oakland A's, they're
no, I was going to say, like, for example, let's suppose over the next, they lose 7 straight, and the Orioles peel off 7 straight.
Right.
And all of a sudden you blink and you're 6 games back and literally they keep running out homes. It happens over and over again. I can see then you going, you know what? This team obviously doesn't care about winning. I'm done. Not when you're half a game out and fighting for the division. Well, that's crazy.
And that's. I think we can have a very interesting debate about whether it's like the old days with George Steinbrenner. But I do think you might disagree with their moves, but I do think the intention of the moves is to win. They're not tanking.
Well, let's bring in our good buddy Dan Orlovsky. We love talking to him during the football season. This is his first appearance with us, and he joins us on the show. Dan, it's Michael, Don, and Peter. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. It's awesome to be with you guys again. Hopefully you guys had a tremendous summer. So excited to be with you.
Same thing with you. We hope you had a great summer with your family. So let's start off. We'll start off with the negative, all right? Mike Clay had a story out, said that the Giants are the worst team in football. I think we all don't think that. I mean, we don't think they're a playoff team, but we don't see them being the worst team in football. Do you sense that?
I would lean towards agreeing with you guys. I think, number one, there's not a lot of bad teams in the NFL. You know, there's a lot of teams who sit there and go, oh, maybe they could win the division. Maybe they. So the parity is, you know, over the past couple of years as good as it's ever been. I don't think a team that has the defensive line that the Giants have had, and I think is going to be even better this year with the addition of Burns, is a worse team in football. I don't think a team that has, you know, some of the skill players with the Giants are pretty darn good. If Neighbors is who, you know, I kind of watched him be in college. So worst team in football is a stretch for me. I don't think, to your guys' point, that this is a team that's really going to challenge to win the division or get into the playoffs. But I don't believe that this team is a team that you just look at your schedule and laugh at. No.
Right. And Dan, I would think you agree, of the four major sports, coaches have more to do with the wins and losses than any of them. So if you think they're the worst team in football, then you must think that Brian Daboll's not a very good coach. Because I think if you're a good coach and you said there's enough talent there, that I think they could stay out of the basement.
Yeah, and I'm in team Brian Daboll as a good coach. I think he's a fantastic coach. And I think that him taking over play calling is going to be a benefit for Daniel Jones and for that offense. You know, I don't want to minimize Mike Kapka. I think that he's a really smart offensive mind as well. But play calling is just different. And I think Daboll is one of the better guys and has proved to be one of the better guys when he has that role. So I think that Daboll has a little bit of a bounce-back year and kind of re-solidifies, like, his, I guess, you know, his future within the organization.
All right, so I think a lot of what the Giants do this year is going to rest on the shoulders of Daniel Jones. Joe Shane has made no secret of the fact that he's looking at other quarterbacks on the Giants' Hard Knocks, then on Hard Knocks with the Bears yesterday. He went up to the Bears GM and said, must be nice not looking at quarterbacks. So he's really putting it in the face of Daniel Jones. What are you thinking of Jones? What type of season do you think he could have if he's healthy?
I mean, the reality is if Daniel Jones wants to be the quarterback in 25, he's got to have a career year. You know, I've said this, and this was the concern of him coming out. Like, he's the best I think Daniel can be is solid, is fine, is good. He might have moments when he peaks higher, but that's not going to be the long-term kind of player that he is. And so I think he can have a fine year if that offensive line plays up to kind of what they did in 2022. Jalen's going to have to really start to be a vertical threat and a reliable pass catcher and one-on-one. How they use Malik is going to go a long way in that. You know, I think with Malik Neighbors, if Brian Daboll kind of adapts a little bit of the Deebo Samuel, a little bit of the Mike McDaniel, Tyreek Hill fit, I can see Daniel benefiting off that big time and getting some chunk plays. So I don't have this expectation that Daniel Jones is all of a sudden going to throw for 35 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, and everyone's going, oh, my gosh. I think he's going to be kind of what he's been, which is at times unbelievably frustrating. At times he might have a 2 or 3 game stretch where he gives you hope. But until he, you know, he did it in 22. He got rid of the really boneheaded, panicky things. I've talked about that with you guys. Until he does that consistently again, my expectation is he's going to kind of be what he has been.
And where would that land him, you think, moving forward? Like, where does the story end for Daniel Jones in your eyes?
Yeah, unless Daniel Jones has a career year, he's not going to be their starting quarterback at 25. You're not going to pay that much money for a quarterback going into his 7th year, which I believe he would be, that hasn't eclipsed 25 touchdowns. You know, he's only eclipsed 15 touchdowns once. And so you're just not going to do that in today's NFL. Certainly not in your division with, you know, Washington thinking they've got a stud in Jaden Daniels and, you know, Dak Prescott future up in the air. Unless he really has this breakout season. And I remember being on with you guys in 2022, and Michael, I think you were the first one to ask, has he done enough to get the franchise tag? I think the question was. And I was like, yeah, probably, but not a contract extension. And I think probably he's going to have to do enough and more than he did in that year to justify, you know, keeping him at the contract that and the number he would have for 25.
It is unusual, though, because the number is not that high now. So I wonder if he has an okay year. $40 million is middle of the road, Dan. So does that change the equation a bit?
It never does for me. I'm always, because everyone, the point is, well, the salary keep going higher and higher and higher, and I'm aware of that. And everyone goes, well, what are you going to do? What would be the person or the alternative if not? And I always say that should never dictate the decision you make at that position. If you're talking about a second or third wide receiver or a tight end or a center, we can have that conversation, but not at that position. It can't be well, what else would we do? Just because you have that person in that role for a not unbelievable starting price doesn't mean you should wallow in mediocrity.
Right.
And if he has a fine year and the Giants have a fine year, boy, if you're Joe Shane, are you rolling the dice on fine in your future? And if you're Brian Daboll, are you sitting there going, fine is going to get it done again? And so I think there's a lot of tentacles attached, and I always feel bad talking about it, but that's just the reality of the nature at that position in the league. So I don't think just because it's $40 million, you'd rather have $55 million in a guy rather than $40 million knowing, okay, if he's fine, if he plays above his skis, we're still just going to be okay.
All right, Aaron Rodgers plays 17 games this year. Where do the Jets finish?
Oh, if Aaron Rodgers plays 17 games this year, the Jets are in the playoffs. I think they absolutely have a chance to win that division. And bona fide, I think there's 5 teams in the conference that can truly, truly have the ability to beat the Kansas City Chiefs if Patrick is on his A game. Well, that's a tall task, and New York would be one of them.
And okay, how many games is Aaron Rodgers going to play this season? And obviously, this is based on nothing but kind of hunch. I recognize that, but what does Dan Orlovsky's gut say about the availability?
I think he plays 15 plus games.
Okay,
I really do. I think I've known Aaron a long time, and I don't want to misrepresent our relationship that we're best friends, but I've known him since we were, I think, juniors or seniors in high school. He's a different human, and he's just wired in a way that many greats are wired. And I think in sports, all of us have a lot of evidence where we count greats out because of this or injury or whatnot, and they always seem to come back. And I just think he's one of those in that group, and I fully expect him to look way more like the quarterback we saw in 20 and 21 than the guy that we saw with a broken thumb, everybody, because that conveniently gets missed in 2022.
All right, so let's look at that, though, Dan, because I'm curious about it. He's going to be 41 in December. He had the broken thumb 2 years ago. He played 4 plays last year. Is he just going to defy Father Time? I mean, he hasn't played in a full year, had a serious injury, and we expect him to be the MVP Aaron Rodgers?
I don't want to say that he's going to win MVP, but I do think he defies Father Time, and I do think he plays into that top 10 quarterback level. Absolutely. MVP, that Green Bay team with Devontae was obviously really unique, and there was a ton of the RPO, yards after the catch element to their offense. Randall was still playing well. So, I don't have Aaron winning MVP, and I don't think he's going to be one of those guys that is that 2 or 3 finalists. But I look at this football team, and I just go, even if I just focus on the offense, I don't need to tell people they're great on defense. If they stay healthy, but I'm saying that for everybody, okay? They're capable. I think the offensive line's a top 7, top 8 offensive line. I think Garrett Wilson goes for 110 catches and 1,500-plus yards and 10-plus touchdowns. I think both tight ends are really dynamic players. I think Corley has 70, 80 catches and probably 400 or 500 yards after the catch. Breece Hall is going to have another 40 or 50 catches himself. So I just know how this guy likes to play. I think stylistically, the people that they have match the style that he likes to play at that position. So, I just think I think he absolutely defies Father Time.
And do you believe, this is a big question mark as well. There's not a lot of winning DNA on this team, so it's not like they have institutional memory on how to win big games, including the coach. Do you believe that Saleh is a good coach? Is he a championship caliber coach, Dan?
Robert Saleh hasn't proven to be a championship caliber coach, no. But he's watched people be championship caliber coaches. He's learned from, guys like Kyle Shanahan and Gary Kubiak and watched them. So, there's a lot that you can carry over. Now, you'll never know if the coach is unflappable in those moments that are necessary to go be into that conversation of winning a championship. But I do know this. If we're just being honest, he's been dealt some deck of cards that ain't been great over the past couple of years. If we're just in the totality of being able to win games, let's see what kind of coach he is when the decks are a little bit even. Like, let's just see when he's got to go against a Patrick Mahomes or a Josh Allen or a Lamar Jackson. Like, when he feels my guys are just as good, let's just give him the opportunity to have that, and then we can gauge if he truly is a championship caliber coach or not.
All right, final thing before I let you go. Who do you have in your Super Bowl?
I have Kansas City and Detroit. My AFC championship game, I actually went back and forth between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Jets, or the Kansas City Chiefs and the Houston Texans. I took the Houston Texans in finality. And then in the NFC, I took Philadelphia and Detroit. And I think the Chiefs go 3-peat.
Oh, God.
Great. Good stuff. Dan, awesome. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to talking to you every Wednesday.
Have a great afternoon, guys.
All right, thanks, Dan.
Oh, bullets kill me.
You hate dynasties, don't you, Peter? You hate dynasties.
I'm good. I'm so good on the Chiefs at this point. We'll have another year. If this next year that we're getting involved with is the Giants being absolutely awful, and the Jets somehow it doesn't work out, and they're awful, into a Chiefs playoff run where we're talking about the engagement of Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, into Patrick Mahomes winning another Super Bowl, maybe it's time for us all to go. I don't want to do it.
I'm just curious. I'd love to hear your take, Peter, but I want to hear 45 on Patrick Mahomes.
You know what? Growing to like him. Makes great choices. Bigger fan of the wife, though. Like the wife, Brittany Mahomes. Like her on social media. Follow her, not too closely. Slid in the DMs once. She's very good. Very, very good. Very talented. Beautiful Brittany, that's what I call her. And perfect Patrick. America's couple.
Don, why don't you tell us about BetMGM?
I will.
Because FanDuel's profit boosts every NFL game day will reward you when you're ready to act.
Go Browns! Browns! Browns!
So you won't let any hunch go to waste and make every moment more.
All customers get a profit boost every NFL game day from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
After careful review of medical guidance and research on pain relief, my recommendation is simple. Every home should have Salonpas. Powerful, yet non-addictive. Targeted and long-lasting. I recommend Salonpas. It's good medicine.
Recipes. Recipes written by hand and lost to time are now being analyzed and restored using the power of Dell AI.
At this very moment, Doctors Without Borders is on the ground in communities around the world, delivering life-saving medical care where it's needed most. Our teams are bandaging war-wounded patients caught in the crossfire in Sudan, providing clean drinking water in Haiti, and performing emergency C-sections in Yemen. Doctors Without Borders teams are in over 70 countries worldwide, bringing patients from sick to recovering, from emergency to aid, from crisis to care. This life-saving work is made possible by our movement of supporters. People like you, who help our patients even when they're half a world away. At Doctors Without Borders, we won't stop working to bring our patients and their communities from crisis to care.
At Domino's, our stores now have quality captains.
Impress me.
Those who demand perfection.
Topping distribution, horrible.
They're not afraid to criticize your pizza.
Terrible. Pathetic. I hate it.
Thank you. Until it's perfect.
I don't have to think about this one. It's a yes.
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 We're holding your pizza to an even higher standard.
Guess who works at Domino's?
everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too. That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer. But do you have to wedge it into everything?
What? Don't do that. This reminds me of my bike. The wolf was about the size of my new motorcycle. Have you seen it, by the way? Happy birthday, Grandma!
Really?
Look how the brushstrokes follow the line of a gas tank. Hey! Brought my +1. Jamie.
Your memory is an amazing thing, but sometimes it can start to slow down. But did you know Prevagen can help keep your memory sharp? The secret is the powerful ingredient apoaquarin, originally discovered in jellyfish and found only in Prevagen. In a clinical study, Prevagen was shown to improve memory in subgroups of individuals who are cognitively normal or mildly impaired. Stay sharp and improve your memory with Prevagen. Prevagen, in stores everywhere without a prescription.
You could go from point A to B, or you could go to point X. The BMW X Range. Your next X venture starts here.
Test drive the BMW X3 at your local BMW Center.
Chris Sheeran back here for the Michael K. Show. These highlights are brought to you by Montefiore Einstein, the official hospital of the New York Yankees. The Bombers were scoreless and only had 3 hits through 6 innings. The first 5 were thrown by former Yankee Andrew Heaney for the Rangers. They scored 2 in the 7th and 2 in the 8th, though, to take a 4-1 lead. Texas put up a 2-spot to cut the lead to 1. Heading into the 9th. Clay Holmes came on, and after a ground-out single and a pair of walks, rookie Wyatt Langford, the 4th overall pick from the 2023 draft, walks it off, launching a grand slam into the left field seats. Holmes' 11th blown save of the year, and the Yankees fall out of first place in the AL East. And that spoiled the solid night from Carlos Rodon. He spun 6 innings of 1 run, 1 hit ball, striking out 11, his high in a Yankees uniform. Another rubber match for the Yankees is set up. It'll take place tonight over on Prime, with our coverage commencing at 7:30 with the pregame, followed by first pitch a little after 8. And don't forget, after the final out, kick it back to Yes in the Yes app for complete post-game coverage.
Tune in to the K Show tomorrow starting at 3 p.m. for your chance to score 4 tickets. See the Mets begin their series against the Cincinnati Reds on Friday night. Brought to you by the New York Mets. The Mets are waiving fees on single-game tickets to all remaining home games. The offer ends Sunday, September 8th, so visit Mets.com/no fees.
Awkward.
What's awkward? Oh, yeah.
I'm just joking.
Oh, no, it was. You're right. So awkward. Boy, those columnists were right. I just feel so dirty and awkward. Calling all football fans, enter the ESPN New York Survivor Pool for a chance to win $2,000. Make your pick each week of the football season and find out how you stack up against your favorite ESPN New York personalities. But be careful. One wrong pick and you'll be eliminated. The last one standing will take home the title of the inaugural ESPN New York Survivor Pool champion and $2,000. Enter now on the ESPN New York app. Now, talking to football, we're going to make our picks, not our picks tomorrow, but we're going to make our predictions tomorrow. So I know people wait all year for this.
I might get in. I might get in on the action tomorrow night, too.
Oh, you really? You're thinking about going there?
I'm feeling the team.
Here we go. You got to show me something.
Yeah, it's
3
gotta be
points
3
right
points.
now. That's it.
I'm just telling you guys do what you want to do. Play your little reindeer games. I have a self-imposed rule. If I take Thursday, it's always for 3.
3.
Well, you know what?
What do we do? What do we do?
I will continue to play my reindeer games.
No, listen, do what you got to do.
I will.
Listen, I know.
Don't you worry, I will.
Play it safe, man. It's worked for you. I'm just telling you for me. If you hear I'm in Thursday, I'm not even going to say 3 points, Anthony. It's 3. Otherwise, we're not even playing the game.
So are you in tomorrow?
No.
You just said you had a feeling.
No, I love the Ravens.
Then why aren't you there for 3?
Because I'm not feeling it for 3. There's other games.
But you
that
can't
I like.
love them then.
Sure, I can. I can be like a Mormon. I'm in love with multiple games.
Oh my God.
What's wrong? No, what do you mean? Oh my God, Peter, you get what I'm saying, right? I can love a game, but it not be my 3-point play because there's a game I love more.
No, I hear you.
Michael doesn't hear.
No, and he's gutless, and he shows it in the results every year. So
wait a minute.
And we also then, if that's true, then we really should finalize our bets by tomorrow as well.
You mean the stakes?
That's right.
We'll use words, okay, that apply.
Finalize our stakes. Sorry.
What did you say?
We'll have to finalize our bets.
Listen, you got a lot of nerve. You got a lot of nerve mocking my voice with the kind of back-to-back dominance I had over your pathetic picks.
You know
what? I toy with you. I flick you away like a bug.
Don't even go back at him. You won.
Oh God.
Let's go to Ryan in Port Jefferson. Ryan.
Hey, what's going on, boys? How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing very good, thanks. Don, back when you had your ultimatum for the Mets, their little comeuppance, I was right there with you. You know, I thought the team was playing with no heart, and I think you've obviously seen Lindor turn it around since you had the boos for him, and Jeff McNeil's been such a great player, getting on base since the All-Star break, hitting some home runs. But what I've been most surprisingly pleased with is the pitching, and I think you get consistency from Peterson.
Yeah.
From Severino, and obviously from Manaea, every time out, they have a chance to win, and for me, it's just seeing the culture kind of shift in the right direction. I love what you were saying about, I think it could be a successful season, even if they don't win, but I also think there's a chance, even if they pass the Braves, to just maybe beat the Diamondbacks, maybe beat the Padres if one of them slip, They still have to play some tough games, too, so what do you guys think about that?
I'm glad you brought that up because that kind of gets forgotten. That the way they're playing, I mean, we're focused on the Braves because the Braves are next up, but who's to say that the Diamondbacks kind of cooled off? Mets beat them 2 out of 3. Dodgers took 3 out of 4 from them. They did come back and they're beating up on San Francisco in their series, and also San Diego. And this wacky schedule, Michael. The one thing about interleague play, you get these 2-game series. Like the Padres were off yesterday. They played home against the Tigers on Monday,
right?
Off today, and then they're in Detroit tomorrow. Or off yesterday and then home today in Detroit. It's weird because why not? Why would you not look at what's happening with the Padres right now?
Wait, that can't be. They were home against Detroit, and then they
were home against Detroit on Monday,
and then they're playing in Detroit.
And now they're in Detroit today.
Can't be.
Why?
It's got to be wrong. There's no way. They don't play home and home against American League teams.
No, but wait a minute. Okay, I'm going to look at it. Anyway, so anyway, the Mets are 3 back of the loss column of San Diego and 3 back of the loss column of Arizona. So the way they're playing right now, why does it have to be solely about Atlanta?
It doesn't. You're right.
Now, I got to, because I was driving myself crazy because I'm looking for the Padres score yesterday, and I'm like, they were definitely off yesterday.
Right.
So I'm looking at Monday. That was Labor Day. The San Diego Padres were home against the Tigers. And now I'm looking at the schedule today, and the San Diego Padres are home against the Tigers.
They're home.
Okay,
You said they were in
that's what's
Detroit.
confused. But the reason I got confused. But so why did they have a day off in the middle of a schedule and no travel?
Don't know. It could be that there was something at Petco. I'm not sure.
So that's what kind of threw me. All right, so they're in San Diego. So, but and I know you get into these, I guess, 2-game. I guess because of 2-game series. And was there some sort of a mandate that everybody had to play on Labor Day? Is that it?
I don't know, because there were a lot of teams that didn't play on July 4th and on Memorial Day. So I don't know. I don't know if
I don't know. Just I was thrown off by that. I'm sorry.
It's but math is hard.
But no, it's not math. It's just, why is there a day off on a Tuesday when the same teams are playing on Monday and Wednesday?
Yeah, that is weird.
Let's go to Dalton in South Carolina.
Dalton?
Oh, You know what? Thank you for the call.
Oh, come on.
No, because Marconi invented it. And I think shortly thereafter they started taking phone calls. And they were talking about World War I, and they were just talking about submarines for some reason. And then that person
who do you
told
like
the
in the
person
Battle of
on
the Bulge?
phone said, turn your radio down. So we've well past the 100-year anniversary, and yet it's still happening. I have no tolerance for it. I think Michael agrees.
Yeah.
All right. I'm surprised it took you so long.
Let's go to Tony in Tampa.
Michael, Don, Peter, how we doing? Can you hear me okay?
Oh, Tony in Tampa.
All righty. So this is on the Clay Holmes situation, and I'm just trying to rationalize this. I'm trying to figure this out. To Don's point, when he always acknowledges accountability, right? As fans, we want to know, is it more Boone? Is it Cashman and the upper management? Because if you think about, and here's my question, because the Yankees weren't afraid to change up Aroldis Chapman's role, and he was making $17, $18 million a year. Mm-hmm. So why are they so hell-bent or stuck on keeping Clay Holmes as the closer? I'm just trying to figure this out.
I don't think they are now. I mean, they haven't made any announcement, but I'd be shocked if he's the closer after last night. Shocked. You can't keep doing the same thing and expecting things to change. And I think maybe they felt they had other options back then, but I don't think they feel they have options. That this is a last gasp thing. Mm-hmm. They don't think they have a ready-made closer. They feel that the best stuff is Holmes, and it probably is. But you can't unravel on the mound like that. That was a bad scene.
Anthony Greek reached out to me, Michael.
Oh, what did Greek say?
MLB wanted the Padres to take Monday off to break up a long stretch of games, but the team wanted to play on the holiday and took Tuesday off.
There you go.
Obviously, that was something that happened at the beginning.
How does
of the
Greek
season.
know this stuff?
Because Greek knows. Now, you'll say it's because he probably was, scouting a possible bet.
I was never going to say
I just
that.
think I think you've called him a degenerate on the air.
No, I haven't.
I've heard that. I've heard that.
I do want to. I want to thank both of you. I don't get really introspective enough, but you guys did a good thing for me yesterday. You forced me to get up early to go to breakfast with Joey.
There you go.
And I did, and it was an absolute delight to see him.
I saw the picture. You looked very happy.
And how'd you feel today? Are you doing all right?
I mean, I feel sick to my stomach having a stack of pancakes.
Oh, listen.
Was it delicious?
Yeah, it was great. But you know what? When I start weighing in at 260, you're not going to think it's good.
You'll survive the day.
One day. You have some fun, and you're going to blow up. I would think you're probably around 210.
No, not since my incident 3 weeks ago, because I can't work out.
Not since your incident. You were 210?
No, I was about 220.
210. You're only 220?
Yeah, I'm very lean.
So 6'5"?
So he's going to gain 40 pounds because of one stack of pancakes.
Oh, but you know what? It's a gateway drug. Pancakes are a gateway drug.
Well, so you can have a gateway drug with pancakes, but you laugh at my Dorito.
No, because believe me, I'm just
Dorito.
laughing and making a joke. I won't have pancakes again for another 3 years. I don't understand how you can't delight yourself in Doritos and not be an addict about it.
Doritos are great.
Because listen, Doritos put pancakes to shame. Doritos are just
I don't know if that's
one of God's great gifts.
So
Joey had pancakes too. He had blueberry pancakes. And you know what? Joey could not even finish half of it. I devoured it.
You finished it all?
Yeah, and we also had a side of bacon too.
Oh,
and Joey had his well done.
By the way, you're just like have a little salad with no dressing tonight for dinner. Stop eating at 7 o'clock. You'll be fine by the time you go to bed.
I'll be going to bed tonight at 3 in the morning when we pull into Chicago.
Easy.
Yeah, but you got to rest up for what you're going to do on Thursday night. Or one of the nights you're going out with Shambi.
No. Friday is Shambi. Tomorrow is Mike McCarthy.
Wow. Big weekend.
Please tell my former agent I said hello.
Maybe I will.
And tell him good luck this season.
All right, I'll text him.
No, it's not the Cowboy coach.
Oh. That was exciting, I thought.
All right, speaking of the Cowboys, we have something to talk about with another show on this station. We'll do that when we get back. But first, Peter has to talk about FanDuel.
The Michael K. Show on Yes is brought to you in part by Bigelow Tea, who encourages you to grab a mug and tea proudly.
It's amazing to think that my grandmother started Bigelow Tea right here in New York. And today, we're still a family company. And you have to remember, tea, that's all we do. So every cup counts. That means never compromising. My family won't let that happen. And our extended family, they give their all every single day. And our community, well, they expect that.
I want a cup of Bigelow Tea to be a moment just for you. That's what I hope for.
Blue Chew?
Yeah, you know Blue Chew?
Yeah, it says like chewable tablet things like...
Oh, girl, how do you know Blue Chew?
Oh, man.
Come on. And it made you like him more, right?
Absolutely.
Or you could...
Where do I get Blue Chew?
Well, you can go online and get your first month free, actually, so...
The best ideas come from solving common problems. My problem, like a lot of other men, I couldn't find a shirt that looked good untucked. So this became my passion, to design a shirt that captures the perfect balance between length and fit. Easy to say, not that easy to do. But with some innovative design changes, we did it. Our problem, my solution. Untuckit.com.
I'm Naheem Hines. I support the Muscular Dystrophy Association because they help my mom and kids like Ethan.
Thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and people like you, I have more hope than ever before.
Join us and learn more at mda.org today.
Mi embarazo con Maya fue normal. Todo estuvo bien hasta que nació. La cadera dislocada, ella a lo mejor traía consecuencias en la cabeza. Cada cirugía que ella requiere, creí que Dios me la iba a recoger. Lloraba como ahorita, pero mucho porque me la dejan. El hospital Shriners me dio mucha esperanza. Cada día que despierta, le doy gracias a Dios. Pueden encontrar algo que pueda hacer que mi hija tenga una mejor calidad de vida.
Por más de 95 años, los hospitales Shriners para niños han ayudado a brindar esperanza a niños y sus familias, sin importar la capacidad de pago que tengan.
Con la ayuda de los hospitales Shriners, la vida puede ser muy milagrosa. Yo siento que Mayita todavía tiene mucho que vivir y que hacer. Todo va a estar bien, gracias a los hospitales de Shriners.
Visita moreshriners.org hoy.
For years, one company has battled to deliver business products the next day with no freight charges. Now, WB Mason, with their famous fleet of trucks and drivers, faces their biggest challenge, rescuing shipping and packaging buyers from expensive freight charges. That's right. Now, boxes, stretch film, and packaging tape are delivered the very next day at amazingly low prices. So, who do you call for fast delivery and no expensive freight charges? Who but WB Mason?
Breaking news and a surprise contender in the marathon.
Yes, Rachel, someone has caught up to the front. He's carrying a fridge.
Something remarkable has just happened.
Talk about keeping your eye on the ball.
What's happening courtside?
From half court, he got it.
I can't believe what I'm seeing. Over to baseball.
Richmond's gonna win.
There's no way. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
Everyone deserves the fastest, most reliable internet speeds, regardless of where they live. That's why Spectrum offers the fastest speeds in more neighborhoods than any other provider.
Switch to Spectrum Internet for only $49.99 a month. Call 1-866-895-3521.
With Spectrum Internet, you can power all of your devices to enjoy streaming, video chatting, and gaming. I rely on Spectrum Internet. You should too. Call now.
There he is. It's right there. Oh, he's straight ahead. He's straight ahead. Go, go, go.
Cover more ground in the fuel-efficient Kia Sportage Turbo Hybrid. Kia, movement that inspires.
There are trucks, and then there's the GMC Sierra, available with the connected driving experience and the world's first 6-function multi-pro tailgate. GMC Sierra. It's the truck. Or get $6,000 purchase allowance when you trade in an eligible vehicle. That's 10% below MSRP on select GMC Sierra models. We are professional grade GMC.
The Michael K. Show on Yes is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more.
What if you went to your secret hiding place and found this? All drug use comes with risk. Before those risks become real, know that you can quit. For help with drug use, call 1-800-662-HELP for free and confidential information and treatment referral. Or go to samhsa.gov/know-the-risks.
Listen, I fight it sometimes. I'm good with it tonight. I'm good with it.
It's the first one I've won in like eight shows.
Don doesn't look good with it.
Why?
But I don't know.
What did I say?
No, it's the look on your face says you're sick.
I don't like to lose, but I was bested today. That was a good point. And because Wischusen won it yesterday,
which was just ridiculous.
Michael's in good shape.
No, it's the Wischusen one was tough.
But I can't win on Friday though, because I'm going to join the show late because of the Yankee game at 2.
But if you could be on by 5:30 and you have a solid hour,
yeah,
I'd
I
really
plan
show
to.
you something, right? Imagine if you were able to clinch the week by having a point guard in the last.
Yeah, but he could finish the week
15
tomorrow.
minutes of the show because if he joins at 5:30.
No, but
tomorrow I got the full show.
He could finish the week tomorrow.
I'll be doing it from ESPN Chicago tomorrow.
ESPN Chicago?
Yeah.
Really? Is that so?
Looking forward to it. Now, DNR.
That's DiPietro and Roth.
They have bets like we do for the football season.
I don't know if you've noticed this. They've stolen about everything from our show. Continue.
So, wow. So the worst thing they stole.
Oh, what? I can't fire back?
No, you
gotta sit
can't.
there and take
The
it?
best
I was
thing
just
they
saying.
stole was RJ, and I'll never forgive them for that.
Oh, there's way more than RJ.
No, but RJ's the
very
most
good.
important thing they stole.
But that's not really stealing.
Yeah, well, that's why I blame him, too. You're right, Peter.
That's not what I was saying.
It's abandoning. That's what it is.
Well, you know what? You dug your own hole with that one.
That's okay. Keep
All
going.
right, so the bet was that if Rick beat Dave had to get dressed up as a cowboy.
Which, by the way, I didn't realize when I brought that up yesterday on our show. I was accidentally, it sounds like, stealing from them.
Yeah. Not like, an American Texas cowboy, a Dallas cowboy.
Yeah, although the datedness of the uniform made me feel like it was almost
here's
an American
my
Texas
problem with
cowboy.
what happened. So Dave paid off his bet. The helmet they gave him, they couldn't get him a real cowboy helmet. He looked like Andy Reid in the punt, pass, and kick competition.
Yes. It's good.
What do you mean good?
Well, you don't want him to look, but you want him to look as ridiculous as possible.
Honestly.
Well, you know what? Mission accomplished.
Yeah, you know what, Don, though? Here's the thing. Dave dressing up in anything athletic is ridiculous as possible.
wow.
What Michael's saying is, though, what kind of old crap was this? Whose
I don't know.
basement did they dig this
Santiago
out
brought
of?
it in, right, Anthony? Was this something Santiago owns?
The jersey's his. Not sure about where the helmet
What jersey?
came from.
Was it a number 6?
It's Santiago 6. I think maybe that was Ray's number in high school, possibly.
Wait,
but he made a custom jersey. People do that.
Okay, got it. It was a custom cowboy jersey with Santiago on the back.
sure.
Okay. And then the helmet. What was the helmet?
It looked
saw
like a
box here
child's
today.
helmet.
Yeah,
They might have bought the helmet just now. I saw a box today that looks like that the helmet came.
Now, Michael is of the age that he'll probably remember this. Peter and Anthony will not.
Okay.
If you remember the old Sears catalog.
Yeah.
Ah, yes.
Back in the 70s.
Oh, I remember the Sears catalog. Are you kidding me? Fire up the Husky.
But what you don't remember is that you would be able to, from any of the then, 26 NFL teams.
Sure.
You can get, like for kids, a full uniform, pants, jersey, and like a plastic helmet. That's what it kind of looked like today.
It did. It did. No, it gave that energy.
You know what? I hate to say this about Dave because we joke around about him a lot, but I really do truly like him. He's a terrific guy.
No, he's a really good person.
But, I mean, he is the least athletic-looking dude I've ever seen. His body just screams, no, I am not an athlete. I can't believe he's as good at tennis as he said he was.
I still would like to build towards, at one point, something involving Dave and tennis. But that picture that they're showing right now on Yes It's the bet play. I got to give him credit where credit is due. That's how you wanted the bet to play out.
Yeah, that's perfect.
It looked like he wandered in as an extra from a movie about football in the 80s where they couldn't clear the rights to a real team.
That's an extra from Black Sunday.
Yeah.
Remember the movie Black Sunday?
No.
It's Cowboy.
I remember Any Given Sunday.
No. Well, that's Any Given Sunday. But back, I guess, like 77, 78, there was a movie called Black Sunday. It's set during a Super Bowl involving the Cowboys and the Steelers, in which they're like terrorists take over the building. And that would look like an extra from one of the Cowboy teams.
Have you ever heard of Chocolate Sunday? Those are delicious.
There's Black Sunday and there's 2 Minute Warning. It's kind of like Armageddon and Deep Impact.
Wow.
They were like both out around the same time.
The only Black Sunday I recognize is Cypress Hill's second album.
No, for God's sake.
But I guarantee you that's better than the movie Black Sunday.
You don't know that.
But it has to be.
No.
You've never mentioned Black Sunday to me. That means it's not that great to you. And the Cypress Hill Black Sunday is a gorgeous piece of work. I understand it's a high bar to set. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the fine film.
Well,
hey, speaking of which of films, you guys hear about this Peacock series, Fight Night, that's coming out?
Yes. I saw the whole thing because I have to watch NBC, Channel 4, because 7's off because of Greg.
Why don't you just get rid of DirecTV?
Because it's a process, Michael, and I don't want to do the process. I really don't.
Yeah, but you know what? If you're a real Disney employee, don't you think you should get rid of DirecTV to support your company?
Huh? Oh, no, that's a bridge too far.
What are you talking?
You just went too far.
No, I mean, you want DirecTV to feel the hurt for taking Disney products off the air.
Well,
I don't know. I don't even know what the details are of their beef. I can't weigh in on this.
I don't want to jump in.
Doesn't matter what the details are. You support your company.
Hey, my name's Paul, and that's between y'all. I just want to be able to see our company's fine work on the U.S. Open and be able to tune in tomorrow. We have an All-American semifinal.
It sickens me, but I did get a $20 discount from DirecTV.
Yeah, let's see if we get that every week.
What I did yesterday was logged in on my ESPN Plus, and you guys were right. I then needed to put in cable stuff. And somehow, I don't know what cable thing I had stored in my phone, but it allowed me to get in. So I fortunately was able to watch Francis Tiafoe last night. But this is an unfortunate circumstance. Now, Michael, in all seriousness, whether you're mad at DirecTV or ESPN, the USTA has to be pissed off about this.
No, they still get their rights fee.
I know, but this is a bit. I am hearing that the crowds at the U.S. Open are unlike anything anyone's ever seen. And that's a major hit that one of their major cable providers isn't showing.
How's it a hit? I don't get it. That means more people want to go live. They can't.
You want people to be able to consume your product.
Well, they got the money for the rights.
But it's not all about money.
No, don't ever say that. Don't you ever say that.
Say that out loud.
Don't say that out loud. It's not true. Don't ever say it. Whenever they say it's not about the money, it's about the money.
You don't think that tomorrow, if we get a classic between Francis Tiafoe and Taylor Fritz, an All-American semifinal.
I think it's Taylor Swift. You keep making a mistake.
You don't think that they would be upset that a major part of the audience can't see it?
If they cared about television ratings, Peter, they wouldn't have matches starting at 10:45 on a Tuesday.
That's a point guard. You know what? I'm going to give my point guard to Don. And then we're going to take a brief time out because Aaron Boone has spoken about.
Explain. You're all wrong. You're wet on this.
The new the closer situation for the Yankees. That's coming up in just a moment. But first, I want to tell you about.
Listen, I spotted it from the start. Breaking didn't even have a name yet. Bunch of kids from the South Bronx who didn't just knock on the door, they kicked it down. And today, it's your time. It's all about spotting it early. And if you do, no victory is out of reach.
Nice to meet you. My name is David. I've been a pharmacist for 44 years. When I have customers come in and ask for something for memory, I recommend Prevagen. Number one, because it's safe and effective, does not require a prescription. And I've been taking it quite a while myself, and I know it works. And I love it when the customers come back in and tell me, David, that really works so good for me. Makes my day.
Prevagen, at stores everywhere without a prescription.
Is it possible to be more capable?
and more practical. Be able to perform here and here. Make a statement while barely making a sound. And command the road, as well as what lies ahead. How we get there matters. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
All right, boys, who we betting on?
However you bet, whoever you are, the sports book for every kind of player. Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us.
Everybody be asking me, man, does the Blue Chew actually work?
Bro, you get a month for free. It's free.
Why you asking me and not finding out for yourself? The first month is free. Go get you some chewables, man, all right?
Hey, guys. How we feeling? You ready? Hey, Adams Elementary. Go Rams. I think he needs one, too. What do you think?
This is not just flu protection.
You guys ready to fight some crime?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you go get him, all right?
This is a neighbor looking out for you. Schedule flu and COVID-19 vaccines for you and your family today. Walgreens.
Don't mind me. I'm just the flu. I'm quite harmless, really. And when people ask, but aren't you linked to dangerous flu complications like pneumonia, heart attack, and hospitalizations? I just say, but I'm just the flu.
It's him.
Who? I'm just the flu.
Demand more from your flu shot. Sanofi higher dose flu vaccines are proven to provide better flu protection than standard dose flu shots in older adults. They've even been shown to better protect against flu-related complications.
Don't get Fluzone high dose if you've had a severe allergic reaction to its components, including egg products, or after previous dose of flu vaccine. Don't get Flu Block if you've had a severe allergic reaction to its components. Tell your healthcare professional if you've had severe muscle weakness after a flu shot. Fainting has occurred. People with weakened immune systems may have a lower vaccine response.
All flu shots are not the same. Ask for a Sanofi higher dose flu vaccine. Talk to your pharmacist or doctor about Fluzone high dose or Flu Block.
Self-inflicted gunshot, 14-year-old male.
Just tell me to breathe, man. He's not moving.
You want to win the division.
This is the battle of the American League East.
All right, we've been talking about this all day. The Yankee closer situation, and Aaron Boone has addressed it, and my good buddy Jack Curry of the Yes Network is tweeting out what Boone is saying.
Oh, he addressed it again today now. Here we go.
Boone said the Yankees will get quote-unquote creative with the closer role in the short term. He said that Holmes could still be in the mix. Now, Jack says, I don't think Boone wants to publicly say that Holmes has lost his job, even temporarily. Expect the Yankees to go with matchups for the foreseeable future. Now, when Boone was asked if Luis Gil or Schmidt could be late-inning bullpen options, he said, never say never. Boone said one starter will need to go back to the pen when everyone is back. But what is most relevant is whether Yanks would give a starter with swing and miss stuff a chance to close. Hey, let's interpret that. Holmes is not the closer anymore.
Of course.
He doesn't want to come out and say it, as Jack said. He's not the closer. I mean, a responsible team cannot continue to run Clay out there and have him blow games. Every game now is so darn important. They have 23 games remaining, and they dropped out of first place. He's blown 11 saves. Of those 11 saves, 8 of them have been losses. If they just split those 8, they'd be 3.5 games up on the Orioles. You can't continue to do this. These games are too important. When there's a long runway, you can make mistakes. You can lose games every now and then. When there's a short runway, you can't do that. And this is the shortest runway that you're going to have. These 23 games are going to be like playoff games for the Yankees. You can't have a closer who just completely melted down on the mound yesterday and lost a game the Yankees should not have lost. It's the 8th game this year that they have lost when leading in the 9th inning or later. This was the only thing for them to do. Now, do they have a ready-made closer? No. Creative is the best way to put it. Find lanes. See what you got. See if Luke Weaver has the stomach to do it. See if Jake Cousins can do it. See if Ian Hamilton comes off the IL and can do it. Check them all out. Yep. You got to do it, Don. You got to say, okay, there's 2 lefties coming up in the next 3. Maybe today we'll go with Tim Hill. You just don't know. You can't continue to give the ball to Holmes. You can't.
Now, this is not a surprising announcement. We knew that Clay Holmes was not going to be closing. But what I found interesting was we're going to have to get creative, which tells me they don't have a candidate.
They don't.
They're now searching for it. So they're going to try. We'll see who's up first. And they will try until they figure somebody is right for that role. So the question now becomes, Michael, like how many games could possibly be lost while they're trying to figure this out? So now everything's up for grabs. Like you could be happy that Holmes isn't going to close, but you're not going to be happy until they finally find somebody that can do it. So how many blown saves might there be before they discover that guy? And how big of a hole will they dig while they look?
Well, we might find out tonight, because Holmes couldn't be used tonight anyway. And I do agree, there might be a game where Holmes ends up closing the game. And that could be because you've used up all of your relievers before, and then you came back and you're leading a game going to the bottom of the 9th inning that you didn't think you were going to be leading, and he's going to have to close the game. But in terms of going to him every single time, if he's rested, when you have a lead, those days are over. You can't risk it. It's too important. Too important. And I said this at the beginning of the show, and I truly believe it. It's going to be awfully tough to win a championship if they get in as a wild card. Too many layers, 3-game set. You might lose 2 games just like that, and all of a sudden your season's over. Yeah. You want your first playoff series to be a best-of-5 division series. You just do. It's imperative.
How do you rate this Yankee team's starting pitching at this point?
I think their starting pitching is fine. I think Rodon was excellent yesterday, Peter. Cole has pitched to about a 1.9 ERA since the beginning of August, so looks like
he seems to have found it.
He looks like he's found it. I don't think he's all the way back, but even not all the way back, he's still one of the better pitchers in baseball. Stroman has been great since the beginning of August. His last 5 starts have been on the money, so they've got plenty of options starting-wise. It's their bullpen now that has to be figured out.
But the reason I ask is because if you didn't feel that way, if you don't feel that their starting pitching is at least clicking and very good, how many teams win championships without any bullpen, any closer to speak of, and a sub-average or average pitching staff? That means you shouldn't even really be thinking about championship. But the fact that that you believe the pitching staff is there right now, maybe that gives you hope that if their bats stay alive, get alive in the playoffs, they could go on a run.
But to me, it's not as relevant because nobody's pitching any complete game. You're going to need a closer, no matter how good your starting pitching is. Yeah, and let's face it, you're probably going to need to get at minimum 6 outs, maximum 9, possibly 12. So you're going to need your bullpen, but at some point, the option's never going to be, maybe with Cole, Michael, in a big postseason game where he might be able to give you 9, but everybody else, there's not going to be the option of, well, maybe we'll get a complete game and not have to use our closer. That's not the way baseball is anymore.
And doesn't that stink, by the way? I do miss it. I find the pitching by committee to be kind of just boring.
You know what? I'm watching yesterday's game. What they have done to this game, all right? They've turned it into a bullpen game. Everything. Because you cannot be better. You cannot be better than Carlos Rodon does yesterday. And it was like they didn't even think twice about having him come out and pitch the 7th inning because he had 99 pitches. That's what this game has become. They have cut people off at 100 pitches, and they will not let them go further, and that puts the hands of the game in the bullpen.
Well,
the bullpen in the hands of the game.
So obviously yeah, you got it wrong twice. So obviously it changes the game just from a strategy standpoint and the role of the pitchers, but also just from a consumer standpoint, from a fan of the product standpoint. God, it removes such a great storyline. I'm sorry. To me, there's nothing more a pug than you miss a game and you go, what happened last night? And you look in the box score, Don, and you just see 7 names listed under pitcher. When you get to the playoffs, I want to see pitchers do this. I want to see people go.
That's how I always was. Now, maybe that's because I was a pitcher when I was growing up, or maybe because, the Mets, the best part of the Mets history is about their pitching. But, Michael, one of the greatest games I can think of was Game 7 of the 91 World Series. I mean, that was one of the great pitching matchups of all time, and you're never going to see it. You still will see the occasional complete game and no-hitter, but to have 2 pitchers in a postseason game go at it, through 9 and maybe beyond, those days are way over, and I think that's an aspect of the game that's really lost.
And
I know everybody wants offense, but
baseball knows it, Don, and that's why they're tossing around these scenarios where there'll be advantages for a team if you let a pitcher go long. If you take a pitcher out after 5 innings, you're going to lose the DH. I mean, I don't know when this is going to be implemented, but it can. But baseball has trained its starters to do this. I don't blame the starters. They get all itchy because they have that run sheet that says 3rd time through the order, the batting averages go up. But would that apply yesterday to Rodon, the way Rodon was pitching? Yeah, if a pitcher is tiring, batting averages will go up. But the bottom line is you've crushed the game, and one of the big things in the game, Bob Gibson's starting today. Sandy Koufax is starting today. Jack Morris is starting today. Because you knew there's a chance they pitch a complete game. Now, starters are minimalized, and Don always brings this up, and it's such a great point. Again, I'll give him point God. All they want to throw money at starters. $43 million.
Actually, I think that's originally a me point.
Well, then I give it to you.
I take credit for it. The money wasted on starting pitching versus everyday players is absolutely insane when you've minimized them to 5-6 inning pitchers.
And you almost should pay the relievers more because they're closing out the games.
And also, do you remember, Don, it seems like, now it seems like a million years ago, but just a second ago, we had this really exciting time for Mets fans. What was it based on? It was completely based on the starting pitching staff. It was the rotation that made the Mets dynamic in 2015 and 2016, and it was such a thing. Yeah. Like the Syndergaard pitching was such a big deal. DeGrom pitching was such a big deal. It feels like, Michael, just in the last 7-8 years, the game's been transformed. And this game, we want to be more popular. We want to have younger fans. I don't think this creates any better fan base.
No, it doesn't. And I've said this a million times. The people that are entrusted to win games, the front offices, they're entrusted to do the best thing they can to maximize your winning potential. They're not entrusted for entertainment value. They don't care. They're told, here, your job is to try to win this game. Help us win 100 games. Not help us entertain, keep people engaged. No. They don't care about that. Until they do, until that's their job, then they're not going to think in those terms. They're just not. And I said something the other day on a broadcast, and I'm almost embarrassed in retrospect to what I said. A pitcher went 5 2/3 innings. They took him out. He gave up like a run. And I said, wow, pitcher X, what a brilliant performance. Brilliant performance. 5 2/3 innings. It wasn't even a quality start.
We used to, Michael, growing up, we'd laugh at quality start.
Right.
Oh, only had to go 6 innings. Now these guys, it would be a brilliant start. They didn't even give you a quality start. So I just went back to the box score of that 91 Game 7. Now, John Smoltz, 7 1/3. But Jack Morris, Michael, 10 innings, 7 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. I don't know how many pitches he threw. He probably threw a ton.
And he would have killed Tom Kelly if Tom Kelly tried to take him out.
And it was a 1-0. The final score was 1-0 Game 7. Tell me that's not compelling. So I know you want home runs, you want offense, you want stolen bases, you want balls in play. But sometimes when you get when you get 2 future Hall of Famers pitching against each other in a decisive game and see a guy go 10 innings for the win for his team to capture a World Series, I think that's entertaining too, and that would Michael, that would never happen today, where you'd see a starting pitcher, I don't care how well he pitched into the 10th.
Let's just look at the Yankees. In a game that they had to win against Cleveland in the playoffs, they started Davy Garcia, and they used him for 1 inning before they went to J-Happ. So they tried to get cuter than cute, and it blew up in their face. It did. So Yankees tonight against the Rangers. Stroman is against Evaldi. And then the Mets tonight trying to sweep the Red Sox. Red Sox right now, their playoff hopes hanging by a string. Hanging by a string. The Mets are just a half a game out behind the Braves. And Don, you said this earlier. they got a chance to catch all of the wild card teams.
Yeah.
I don't think they have a chance to catch the Phillies to win the East.
No.
But I still think, I'll still hold firm because I don't like the flip-flop, but I think the Padres are better. I think the Diamondbacks' offense is better, and they have good pitching, and the Braves have winning DNA. So I think the Mets still might fall short, but they are really trying to change my mind.
But the numbers, just because everybody's focused on the Braves because you're only a half game back, one back in the loss column. You're only 3 back in the loss column of Arizona and San Diego. And I would think, Michael, I don't have the schedules in front of me, that the Padres and Diamondbacks will likely play down the stretch. So I'm just saying, the Mets continue to play the way they're playing. Then I think everything could be open with the exception of the division. I'm with you. I don't think there's enough time for that. But with 23 games left to play and the way that they're playing right now, you got to feel pretty good about their chances of being able to at least be in this thing right to the bitter end. And maybe the playoffs certainly are on the table. It didn't feel that way a week ago when they were 4 back, and now they're a half game back.
We have the Mets and the Red Sox following our show, coverage of the Mets and the Red Sox, right here on 880 ESPN. Peter, what did you think of the city of Camden, New Jersey, trying to get the Sixers to move there? I don't think the Camden Sixers would have rolls off your tongue.
Well, how legitimate a shot do they have at this?
Pretty big, because that's where their practice facility is, and they're offering them the world.
But I think they would still stay the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah, maybe.
Because Camden is a suburb of Philadelphia. It's right there. As you said, the Flyers and the Sixers train there.
So it wouldn't mean anything. It would just be like here.
It would just be one of those
Washington plays in
it's like the Jets and Giants playing in East Rutherford. That's the way it would be.
All right, let's take some phone calls before we go to coverage of the Mets and the Red Sox. Kurt in Port Washington. Kurt.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. We've spoken many times, and I know I brought this subject up, but I want to bring it up again. You say teams don't care about innings limits anymore, but my question is this. Wouldn't Heel be a great closer? I mean, Clark Schmidt is coming back, so that's their dilemma, is dealing with a 6-man rotation. So Heel throws 100 miles an hour. He has great stuff. I think he'd be a great
there's only he's got swing and miss stuff, Kurt. I would agree, but he walks so many people. You can't walk people in the ninth inning trying to close a game. So that would really make me nervous.
Isn't he a better option than Holmes, in my opinion?
Well, I mean, right now you're trying to find somebody to replace Holmes, but I mean, if we're looking for the perfect replacement, you don't want a guy who walks that many people.
But I think he deserves a chance. I mean, he might be one of the guys they bring in there to try to do it.
I don't know. I mean, if they think that if they feel that he's still a viable starter despite the innings that he's pitched, Don, don't you want him starting Game 3 of the playoffs after Rodon?
Oh, I think the idea is to not try, but I think he'll get a shot before Holmes comes back. You wouldn't give him a shot to try?
Well, I don't think Holmes is coming back.
Right, but my point is that if everybody else fails, wouldn't you give him a shot? Or no? I mean, you got a 6-man. Are you going to go with a 6-man rotation?
No, they're not going with a 6. Just this time through, and it's actually Cortez who's going to pitch out of the bullpen, backing up Schmidt and Heel, who are both going to start against the Cubs. So they will piggyback Cortez. But then they say Cortez will come back and pitch against the Red Sox. So I don't think they want it. They want to stay away from a 6-man rotation. So one starter is going to go out. Now, if you ask me, well, what starter is best suited to close, has the best stuff, I'd say Garrett Cole. But you don't want to do that because he doesn't walk people and he can strike you out. The second guy I think that translates is Heel, but the walks are a concern. Walks are a concern.
Yeah.
Daniel in Stanford.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
How you doing?
Michael, first of all, we have the same barber. I think that's pretty cool. A little small world.
That classic barber. Junior?
Yeah, no. So I actually have his brother, Tony. He's done my hair for 25 years.
I've got Junior.
He's done my entire life. He's the only barber I've ever had.
He's great. It's a great place.
So I'm calling because and this is kind of just a fundamental thing that I've noticed with Cashman, and I think all of the transgressions with this team stem from him mostly. just because I think that he has a tendency to want to be cute. He wants to do the cute thing. And Michael, you've harkened back to this back in that series against the Rays in the postseason, where he had, I can't remember the pitcher, but he had him come in.
Was that again? It would be Davey Garcia and Jay Happ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he tried to get cute there. And he's doing this with positions, too. He's doing this with third base. He's trying to patch holes at third base, left field, and now the bullpen. And he's trying to be the smartest guy in the room when he doesn't have to be. He has not Cashman money. He has Steinbrenner money backing him up, and he's trying to be cute. And he doesn't have to be. He can be, he can bring in people. I mean, obviously, don't bring, he doesn't have to go crazy with it, but he doesn't have to be the smartest guy in the room all the time.
Well, Daniel, I have always said this, and I've said it to Aaron, and I've said it on the air, so I'm sure the Yankees have heard. They don't have to be the smartest guy in the room. They're the best-looking guy in the room. When you're the best-looking guy in the room, you don't have to be the smartest. And by the best-looking, they've got so much at their disposal. When you have a $313 million payroll, you shouldn't have to get cute at anything. There shouldn't be spots where you have to get cute. You just shouldn't. They have a $313 million payroll. That's why I laugh when people give me, the Steinbrenners really don't want to win. Really? Then why wouldn't they have a $220 million payroll and make another $100 million in profit? Why? They go to $313, which is higher than anybody, and that's still not good enough to run away with the East? Don't get it. You shouldn't have to get cute when you have a $313 million payroll. You shouldn't.
But I do think there is something to wanting to kind of flex that I'm smarter than everybody else muscle that I think frustrates a lot of fans. Why are you thinking outside the box? Like I've said it before. You just said it. Like, why wouldn't Hal go, Brian, why am I spending all this money? If you're going to be so analytically driven and you see what the Rays have been able to accomplish, then why am I spending all this money? Why am I doing both? I thought one was so that you could save money, that small market teams can compete, that I don't have to have a $300 million payroll in order to win because we're so smart. So why am I spending so much more money than everybody else?
Let's go to Steve in Mayapack. Steve.
Hi, guys. Mike, I keep talking about Clay Holmes. What about Boone? If he's going to make a switch, why didn't he go in the seventh inning and remove LeMahieu and have Rizzo?
I spoke about that earlier. He made a big mistake. He made a big mistake. I love when Steve changes where he's from as if we don't know who he is.
Yeah, Steve, we can hear you, bud.
Right. There's a very distinctive voice.
We hear you, bud.
So
okay.
We'll take your call. We've always taken his call.
Pinch hitting Rizzo for LeMahieu. After LeMahieu made an error at first, terrible move, terrible non-move. But I love that Boone blew the game. No. Clay Holmes blew the game. Clay Holmes didn't perform. Right. You got a lead to your closer. That's why I never say Mike Hargrove lost the World Series. He got it to Jose Mesa, and he got Game 7 to Jose Mesa with a lead. That's it. Manager's job is done. Then he didn't perform. Yesterday, Clay Holmes didn't perform.
Yeah, that error would have been a footnote had Holmes done his job.
Right.
Now, it's still a mistake by Boone, but it didn't cost him the game.
It is a terrible mistake, and that's why I brought it up earlier.
I guess Steve didn't hear that.
And you know what? On top of all this, guys, when we get to the playoffs, we're going to have the question we've had about this team in the playoffs every year the last many years with this team.
And what's that?
Are you going to hit?
Yeah.
That's the other piece. Like, we can talk about this until we're blue in the face. The fact is, their lineup is limited, and they've generally struggled in the postseason. And the one knock that Aaron Judge ever has to deal with is he hasn't really hit in the postseason. So there's a lot for this team to deal with.
All right, we have the Mets and the Red Sox coming up on 880 ESPN. And then later on, Yankees and the Texas Rangers on Prime. Tomorrow we make our NFL predictions. Not picks, we'll do that on Friday, but NFL predictions tomorrow as the NFL season finally starts. Woo! Billy Joel, take us home.
That's a wrap on the show for today. Coming up next here on Yes Yankees Magazine, don't forget the Yankees are over on Prime Video. Coverage beginning with the pregame show at 7:30. First pitch a little after 8 o'clock. For all of us here on the Michael Kay Show, this is Chris Sheeran saying have a great night. We'll see you again tomorrow at 3 o'clock. K Show on Yes is presented by Untuck It. Shirts designed to be worn untucked. Shop now at untuckit.com.
The best ideas come from solving common problems. My problem, like a lot of other men, I couldn't find a shirt that looked good untucked. So this became my passion, to design